For Tina Marie, the beautiful lady you're seeing on your screen, home has never just been a place. It has been a lifelong quest for belonging, healing, and spiritual truth. Today, she's a spiritual creator and YouTuber whose story embodies resilience, transformation, and the pursuit of inner wisdom. Born in Wisconsin and now rooted in Ohio, Tina's journey has been one of seeking not only for a physical home, but for a deeper sense of inner peace. Primarily raised by her father, she faced hardships early in life, including experiencing homelessness at just 13, an event that forced her to leave school prematurely. These challenges instilled in her a profound search for meaning and stability. Yet, instead of allowing her past to define her, Tina chose to walk the path of self discovery, healing, victory, and forgiveness. Her journey carried her through trials with addiction, a time when she felt far from her own spirit. But rather than succumbing to despair, she embraced the opportunity to rebuild her life from the inside out. She does not believe in being a victim of life circumstances. Instead, she thrives in her identity as a victor, carrying the conviction that every challenge is a stepping stone towards wisdom and growth. Her YouTube channel is the sacred extension of this philosophy and the culmination of her search for a place to belong. Guided by her vision, I'm on a spiritual journey to find the non physical attributes to this life. Tina creates content that explores unseen dimensions of existence. She seeks what she does not yet know with humility and courage, sharing her discoveries to create a virtual home for others walking their own path. For her, this work is not about perfection or having all the answers. It's about connection, compassion, forgiveness, and reminding others that what is meant for them will arrive in divine timing. What makes Tina's presence online especially powerful, and particularly this Sunday service, is that she has never been active on social media before creating her channel, Tina Marie. Stepping into the digital space was a leap of faith, born from her desire to be there for others in the way she once longed for someone to be there for her. Through her videos, however short they may look, she offers encouragement, spiritual insight, and a gentle reminder that no matter how heavy life becomes, healing and light are always possible. Tina's Marie's story is not of survival alone. It is one of awakening, radical self belief, and the transformative power of truth. A channel is more than content, it is a sanctuary for those who are seeking hope, perspective, and the courage to return home to themselves. Tina, I may not have done it justice, but allow me to bring you to the panel
Oh,
and please introduce yourself to the community in the best way you know how. Welcome to the Sunday service.
thank you for having me. My name is Tina. I live in the USA. I'm on a spiritual journey. I'm on a to know who I am. I want to know what I am, who I am, why I'm here. And I know that's a big umbrella of questions for myself. But to me, I believe that that leads somebody to be better than they were yesterday. I believe that makes choices better. It makes you more aware. So, and hence that's how I got the channel started. Um, the my family that's on YouTube, like Bang, Ryan, Kumari, if I forget anybody, that's not on purpose. But um they encouraged me to make that channel because I probably wouldn't have, because I had got off of social media for like 3 years. And when the encouragement started coming in, it was something I always wanted to do anyway, was make a channel and try to put something out there that, doesn't focus on a negative, but the positive of life. You know, I'm a person of words. So when I'm like going through something or something's bothering me, I just need somebody to talk to. Just talk to me and make me, help me through this. I don't need anything material. So, hence my videos and why I put them out there. Hopefully I put them out there so maybe they'll help somebody through a day, a minute, an hour. I don't know. So yes.
I was muted. I love that, Tina, and
Mhm.
a lot of people are so excited just listening to you here. Louis says
Well,
she's
thank
so
you.
beautiful. She's so beautiful. So just
Well, thank you.
some compliments coming in there that I did not want
Mm.
to miss. And thank you so much, everyone who is here. BDGP, thanks so much for coming in. BD saying hi to you as
Mm.
well. Thanks so much for that.
Hi.
Yeah, we can see you. I like the definition of and the introduction that I'm on a journey. I'm here to
Mm.
discover, I'm here to learn, I'm here to
Mm.
figure out what this life is all about. Let's talk about growing up in the United States. Where did
Mm.
Tina's story begin? Which state were you born in? Were you born in the US in the first place? Any
Mm.
siblings, parents, just to get that bit of backstory.
Yeah, I grew up in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, not in Ohio. I have an older sister, a younger sister. So I'm the middle child. I grew up in a bad part of Milwaukee in the hood. So and it was a lot growing up. I mean, my dad and my mom, it was a lot of physical abuse, mental abuse, addiction, abandonment, neglect. It was, and I want to tell my story. I just want to just say this because I don't want people to think I'm like woe is me, but I want people to understand that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. I don't care what you're
Um,
going through. You know,
and
I
how
and I believe my childhood, divinely timed, divinely placed, divinely, I was where I was supposed to be for the lessons I needed today. Like, yeah,
that's
thank
powerful.
you. So the abandonment taught me not to abandon. You know, it's like we live forward but understand backwards. Because now I see the lessons. While I was in it, I was like, no, this isn't fun. I don't like this. But I see it now. I see the lessons, and so my mom ended up leaving, but my father, he raised me, just my dad. He came and he picked us, like they had broke up or whatever, and then he came and he got us. And that was so impactful in my life for my father to come and pick us up and take responsibility for his kids. Um, so I appreciated that, as I became a young adult. My older sister, she lost custody of her kids. So because my father did that, I couldn't leave my nieces out there. So I
Um,
adopted them. And then my younger sister, she did the same. She was going through some things. So then I took her kids in and I adopted them. But it was such a ripple effect that I am grateful for. That there were four lives out there that got changed because of something my father did. So,
Tina,
hmm,
that is fascinating because the stories you hear, it's always like you always hear of deadbeat dads, fathers abandoning their kids. But
right.
your story is the other way around. Like your father took responsibility, mom abandoned you guys.
Hmm.
Uh that's powerful. And if Yanni Sikul is saying that, wow, there are still some amazing fathers out there. You know,
Mm,
uh, like that is very powerful. And what was that
yes.
experience growing up without a mom? Because we always like mom always
Mm,
gets the we know moms always get the favor in the family from the kids, but
mm.
stuff like that. But now, what is it growing up like without a mother? And being raised by your dad who now has to, like, let's say, take over most of those responsibilities that mom was supposed to be taking care of.
I think sometimes he forgot he was raising girls because he would literally try to raise us like boys. Like, come on here and work on this car. I need you to go out there and cut the grass. I need you to. He was a carpenter, so he used to like come in the basement and help me. And we were the girls, like, no, we don't want to do that. So I think sometimes he forgot. But I'm glad that he raised me because he instilled a lot of what do you want to say, like self grit in me,
Mm.
like to grind and to be out here and get to do what I need to do for Tina. He used to always tell me, like, Don't depend on a man and always keep your own money. He's like, always save your money. And, he used to, things, just little things, he used to say. And I used to, you know, I used to, now I'm grateful for it because without the principles that he put in me, I probably would be a totally different person, but he's taught me inner strength because he's a man and I'm a woman. So, um, I'm grateful that he raised me the way he did. You know, and for a long time, for a long time, I was like, he used to be really abusive towards us, though. He was like, physical abuse, right, to us. But and when my mom left, right, I used to be upset. I was upset for years behind that, right. But she left because he was beating her, right. And I got to a point in my life when I was going through this whole spiritual, I started looking inside at myself and I started asking, like life questions, like why do we do what we do? Why do we wear shoes? Right? Why do all of these questions just flooded me. And I put myself in my mother's shoes. And if I was in her shoes, I would have, yeah, she sacrificed her kids, but she did that to save her sanity. She did that to save herself. Otherwise, if she would have stayed in that situation, I don't know, I wouldn't have stayed. I would have left too. And
Mm.
she was an alcoholic really bad, so she didn't even have the capabilities of taking care of her kids for real. Like if you look at it. So, and then I look at her background. Like she went through a lot of abuse. She went through a lot of like foster care, things like that. And her childhood was abusive, right? And she didn't have the womanly capabilities to take care of her kids. And then I looked at my dad and, he came from an abusive background and he was raising his kids like he was raised, to a point because my dad had a big heart. Like sometimes he used to do some, he'll like give us one of us three would get it real bad, but he would come back like and be nice. He'd never say sorry, but he would come back and be like, "You want to go for ice cream?" Because you knew he felt bad.
Yeah.
So his heart was in it, but he was only doing what he knew to do. He didn't know any better. He didn't know to be conscious and be like, "Okay, I can be better than that. I was raised." He was only doing what he knew. And some, to me, I no, it wasn't fun going through it, but that man did the best he could with what he had at that time. And if that was the best that he had at that time, it worked and it got me to where I'm at. So I'm grateful for that. Even my mother, because my mom, she's still alive. She lives in Wisconsin, but we don't have a emotional bond like a mother daughter should. She knows I'm here. I know she's there, but you know, there's no bond. So it's like I know, I don't, and it's okay. It's okay. You know, Sometimes it has to be like that. And it doesn't bother me on no level because it was something I never had anyway. So when people talk about moms, I don't know. I can't relate. My
Yeah.
mom this, my mom that. But like I said, my father, that was my rock. My father passed away uh
Awesome.
3 years ago. He passed away 3 years ago. But I wanted to make sure he didn't die alone, right? And I am so, I mean, he lived his life. He was ready to go. You know what I mean? He was suffering and da da da. But he died with me holding him.
Oh
And that
wow.
was such a gift to me. Like when I tell you, I was grateful for that one moment. You know what I mean? Because I know he left and he knew I was there, and he didn't leave alone. I mean, I can't go to the next realm with him, but he knew I was there taking care of him. He was on hospice, and I wouldn't change nothing, nothing in the world for that memory. Nothing. Like it was just amazing. It was amazing. It was amazing. And yeah, there's a part of you that gets sad because part of me that's sad he's not here. But I wouldn't want him here suffering. I want go
Mm,
home. Go home. Go home, Dad. Go get up, go up there and live your best life up there. Because you finished this one.
that's true.
So, but yeah. I'll get the
And
ranting and raving. Huh.
yeah, Fabulous says that moment is life changing. That
Mm,
moment is life-changing. Just talking about that moment when your dad, and,
that was. Mm,
yeah. And Cindy says, "Oh, Tina, I'm so sorry for your loss." Sunship is here at the farm watching you, and Sunship was asking a question that I want you to answer just before we let him go.
okay.
Tina, do you identify with any American indigenous tribe or maroon colony?
Oh yeah, I'm Ojibwe. That's my tribe.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
Uh, maybe
from
to the
from
people
Native
may not,
American.
yeah, maybe to the people may not understand that. Maybe could you just explain for us further?
Oh yes, I'm Native American.
Nice.
Um, yeah, my tribe is up in Odana, Wisconsin, and my clan is Turtle. I'm part of the Turtle clan up there. We have a reservation up there.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Hmm.
All right. And then let me say that there's anything I may have missed. And yes, guys, yeah, thank you so much for that. So Sanship, I hope you got your answer. I hope you got your answer. Miss Joan Parker, nice to see you. And thank you so much, everybody. Everybody saying sorry for the loss, sorry for the loss,
Oh,
sorry for the
thank you, thank you.
loss. Um, let's talk about so you're growing up as a girl. You're in the dad is trying to do the most he can based on what he knows, and
Mm,
I like the conversation around you are extending the grace, because he may not have known better. Maybe that's all he knew. When he was like raising you and
mhm.
stuff.
Right.
Um, yeah. So as you grew up, you're growing up, you're becoming. I don't know. At what age did mom like leave? Just for me to get context, what I want to ask.
Say it again, Goga.
At what age did your mom like leave you guys?
Oh, I was like, ooh, 4, 5.
Wow, 4 years old. Wow. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
4 years old.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to get context in terms of so you're growing up, you're a girl, you've got to go to school and things like that. Um,
Mhm.
so like what was that experience like, even just for you and
Mhm.
your siblings, just trying to like grow as a child, because those formative years are very important. It's like the school is the friends you guys make. And you mentioned it was a very bad side of Wisconsin, like
Mm.
in the school environment, what are your relationships like with maybe making friends and things like that?
I was a really introverted person, really quiet
Mm.
person, growing up, and a lot of that was from the trauma, though, and I know it was. I would self soothe my pain of my mom not being there. My dad, he was alcoholic too, so he used to drink a lot. So I would go to, I mean, my dad, he was barely making ends meet. He was trying to, do what he could. We didn't have the best clothes growing up. And when I went to school, I was I don't know, but I was really introverted. So making friends was not my forte back when I was younger. And, um, so he sent us to, I mean, we went to school every day. A lot of the stuff we had to be self-sufficient on, making breakfast, getting ourselves up, all of that. And school back then, like I got bullied on really bad in school. I mean, and it went on for like 2 years
Oh
to
wow.
where, yeah, to where people would bully on me. And I mean, and I was already introverted, and in my house, back when I was younger, parents, my dad used to be like, if I wanted to cry, he'd be like, I'll give you something to cry about. It wasn't like, what's wrong with you? Why are you crying? And just that piece is trauma to a child. A child gets traumatized by being shut down and not heard. It's to me that trauma's worse than that physical trauma
Mm.
because you carry that with you as you go on in life. Oh, I'm not important. I don't, nobody cares how I feel. I better hide who I am behind this mask I put up so the world will accept me for who I am, for who they think I should be. And that's not
Mm.
the case. That shouldn't be the case. But back then it was different back then. I mean, I don't know if it's the same now, but I know I tried to raise my kids different. I tried. So after school, like when I was 13, I went on a journey to find my mother. No, I was 12.
Oh,
I went on a journey to find my mother. The girl at school, her mom knew my mom. So me and this girl, I'm 12 years old, and we're looking for. She got the address for me. I'd never been on a city bus before. I didn't know how to get there. We figured. I don't know how we figured it out, right? So, and I was always the rebel in the family. Like my sister, my older sister, my younger sister used to fall in line, and I was always the one. When I was told no in my head, I said yes.
yes.
So I would always figure a loophole around stuff, and I'd go under it, over it, and
Yeah.
so I went to go see my mom. I found the address. I took the city bus. I skipped school, and um, I knocked on the door, and she answered it. And I was like, "Is Linda here?" She was like, "Yeah," and it hit her. I seen it when it hit her face. She recognized me.
Wow.
So it was nice because I stayed there with her all night and talked. And the next day, I knew I was gonna get it because I stayed out all night, and then I didn't go to school. So I got scared, right? So I went to when I did, I just went to school the next day. I didn't even go home. And when I went to school, like, because I was scared, scared, like scared, scared. Like I thought he was gonna break my back or something, Cause so I went to school and I told the school that he was beating on us. Like he would get drunk and he would beat us.
Wow.
Because I was so like it. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Maybe because it was fear that did that. Because I was scared. So they take me out the home and they put me in foster care. I go to foster care. I'm in every group home. I mean, Milwaukee. I ran through all them group homes, detention homes. I went to all the detention homes. I would like at that point. I wasn't committing any crime, but they deemed me uncontrollable because I kept
Wow.
running away. I kept running. I kept running. I kept running away. So the last one I ran away from, I had nowhere to go. I didn't know what to do. I'm 13 now. So I go to the park and I live in the park. I didn't know what to do. I was like, well, it was summertime, luckily. So I would stay up in the park. And then during the day, like I'd go kick it with my friends. And then, I was introverted. So I used to act like I was going home. Like I wouldn't tell nobody my problems. I'd be like, okay, I'm going home now. And I would walk up to the park, but I always slept at like the edge of the park in case anybody came. I know I could run.
Yeah.
So, and it got cold outside. I didn't know what to do. So I called my daddy. I didn't have nobody else to call. So I called my daddy and I was like, look, I'm out here. I ain't got nowhere to go. And my dad was like, be here in an hour. I'm like, okay. So I go home and my dad, he was like, he sat me down at the kitchen table and he told me, he said, you know that the state took custody of you? He said, I don't have custody of you. He said, he was like, and once they catch you, they're locking you up until you're 18. He said, so this is what we're gonna do. You're gonna live here. We're gonna act like you don't. If the police come here looking for you, I ain't seeing you.
Wow.
And he was like, you can't go to school because you go to school, they're gonna lock you up. So he said, until you're 18, you're pretty much, you'll be here. And oh my, like the fact that he's doing this and saying this to me, like because as a child, you look at your parent like they're strict, this strict, strict, strict. And my dad is saying like the whole opposite. And so
Yeah.
I'm like, okay. So I ended up moving back in with my dad. And it was nice. It was I mean, the beatings he didn't do hardly no more. Um, things got better, but they got worse for me because now I'm living my life like a grown adult, right? I'm coming and going as I please, doing whatever I wanted to do.
Hmm.
And he would get mad though, like if we came in late, things like that. And it wasn't healthy for a teenager to live like that. They need structure. You need to have guidelines. You need to have things in place. And it wasn't like that. So pretty much my whole like teenage years, I did think. I mean, I still got a couple whoopings in there from him though. Like, but my last whooping, I think I was like 15, and but that showed me that my dad really, really loved me. Like he really look. I'm willing to put my butt on the line for you. You caused all this. Well, he calls this, but I mean, hold on, wait, no, but yeah, so, um, but we got
I'm
closer.
yeah, and I'm like,
Hmm.
your dad is, you went to the authorities, and I'm
Mm,
just trying to imagine the conversation of, you're a girl, a 13
mm,
year old living in the park, you're homeless,
mm.
literally.
Literally, I
Uh,
was.
and you're a girl,
Mm,
I mean, I'm trying to imagine, as a girl, and you living in
mm,
the park, it's just dangerous in so many levels, like in so many
man,
levels.
it
Um,
was.
but
And
you reach out to your dad
yeah, because
when
like my family, we don't have a tight knit family. You know what I mean? So it was like, dang, who do I call? I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to do, but I know I was cold. That's all I knew.
you are called. You call dad, and and I like to say, be here in an hour.
I know I was scared. So he told me to be there an hour. I'm like, I don't know what I'm walking into.
allow
So,
me to allow me to circle
mm,
back to, like, let's say, the conversation you had with your mother that got you into that whirlwind, or that phase. When you
mhm,
met your mother that night, that day you sneaked out of school, and
mhm,
what was that conversation like? Because this had been like, if your mom left at when you guys were 4 years old, you are like, it's like 9 years later, so it's 9 years, and there you are at the door. You spend the night
mhm.
there. What was the conversation like? Was there any hope of, like, that relationship, like, being rekindled in any way? What was that like?
Mhm. No, it was nice. I mean, she showed like I mean, she was crying and crying and crying. I was crying. And I think at that point though, I was looking for an out, you know what I mean? Out of the I was in a environment that was very damaging, so I was looking
Mm.
for an out. And I was pleading with her, like, can't you just take us? We don't want to be there, because it was a bad situation. So she was like, no, she couldn't take us because she had no what do you call it? Like legal, it was already done. She had no legal
Yeah.
power to us. And my dad used to always badmouth my mother to us every day. Like your mom this, your mom ain't that, your mom ain't this, your mom ain't. And so he had a certain kind of like animosity towards her. So there was no way in the world he was gonna be like, yeah, you can go with your mom. No way.
Yeah.
Mm-mm. No
Wow.
way. But it was hard to leave her. I remember it was hard to leave her the next day. And I was like, dang, I don't want to go, like I ain't seen you in forever. And as a little girl, when I was younger, I used to like yearn for her. Like whenever,
Mhm.
like I would sit there and
Imagine.
cry quietly sometimes and just in my mind, I'm looking, I want her, you know what I mean? And I didn't understand then, what was all going on, but I just knew I think at that was probably the most time I needed a mother. That was it. But so it was nice. It was a nice um interaction between us.
Mm.
But she was
Oh,
really like when I told her, I'm like, well, dang, I gotta go back and I don't know what to do. And she was like, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. Like
oh,
really
wow.
flip offish to me at the end when I was like, dang, I gotta go see my dad. I don't know what I'm gonna say. What should I do? And she's like, I don't know.
Wow. A few comments
So
coming through. A few comments coming through on the chat, so that at
okay.
least you can at least hear some people's reactions. Anastasia
Okay.
Blessed says, Tina, your story matches my story. I don't know.
Mm.
Yeah, so that is Anastasia, who is here in Kenya. Title Pro is excited, saying, "Hey Tina, neighbor, I'm in Michigan." so,
Oh,
so
okay.
Title Pro got excited because you're neighbors.
Mm.
Ifeanyi says that is the best because we'll still see the reflection on Tina today. Um, and then Precious said, "Right, you had to be strong at all times. Crying shouldn't be a
Mhm.
sign of weakness." I think that was at some point when you were talking about
Mhm.
story. Pekamo
Mhm.
says, "Oh Tina, you are giving the love you didn't have, and your upgraded version of the love you are given. It takes a
Oh,
big, healthy heart to process those." Wow,
Thank you. Wow, thank you.
that's deep. And
But
then
that's
the canvas,
true.
yeah, canvas of
Mm-hmm.
a runner who is watching you from South Africa says, "We are more than physical beings. That's why at
Mm,
times, even as a child, you
mm-hmm.
you rather be physically hurt than mentally,
Yep.
mentally."
And that is fact. That I believe that's true.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
And then Cindy Seo is also saying, "Oh, Tina, so sorry you had to go through that, but look at God.
Mm-hmm.
He did a great job on you, and He's healing you." And that's coming from Cindy Seo Kunene. I just want to talk about
Okay.
the experience of being homeless at 13. You know,
Mm-hmm.
like that's an age when most kids in the US, I think, are thinking about their school dances, friends.
Mm-hmm.
But you're moving from one center to the next. You are literally sneaking. You have to like run from one home to another. Just trying to, like, you're literally navigating survival. It was actually you trying to survive.
Right.
Um, Reflecting on that particular chapter of your life until you ended up living in the park and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Reflecting on that particular, you're also like, I would like to say you're also very bold, because I'm just trying to imagine you living in the park and just that experience, what the toll it can take on a person. What is that inner strength, like when that moment you decided to like reach out to dad and say, I am cold.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it
it's
took a lot of that one back then it took a lot of self-reliance. I mean, a lot, cuz I wasn't, I'm in the hood, so like I'm not telling everybody what's going on with me. You know what I mean? I'm not saying anything, I'm cuz people tend to, I knew even back then that people will, they will try to make a come up off of your downfall. If they see
yeah,
somebody that's in need or needs or wants something, and you got it. I mean, people get taken advantage every day, and the
yeah,
fact that I was in that situation, I couldn't tell anybody because I didn't want to get set up, or be in a situation I couldn't get out of.
yeah,
So it took a lot of self-reliance in that time. I still do to this day. I like to write. So a lot of my time was spent writing during the day, or I go to like McDonald's and wash up, and I had some clothes with me, so I would, wash up at McDonald's, change my clothes, go hang out at my friend's house and eat at her house during the day, and then at least I got something to eat. And it took a lot of navigating, like planning in my head. I used to sit there and I remember I like plan my day out because I'm like, all right, what am I doing today? You know what I mean? Where we going? What we doing? Because the can man used to wake me up at 5 o'clock in the morning. He would be pushing his shopping cart full of cans. He's digging out the garbage can. So I'm up bright and early in the morning, just sitting there at the park. And so it was hard to go through. But I believe that all of that set me up for later on in life, like like the self-reliance, the
mm,
confidence, the strategy mindset, to make moves and to, and face your fears, you know what I mean? And granted, I was still fearful, for quite a while after that. But when I got into a real scary situation, I was like, okay, face that fear. Just do it. Just do it. Just do it. You know what I mean? And
mm,
it set me up for that. It set me up for um a lot of things that, and later on in life, that I needed, that was gonna that it's all the unseen that it taught me. It taught me, it was nothing physical, it was all unseen, like mentally,
mm.
spiritually, emotionally. It taught me all of that, and I needed that, but I didn't know it at the time, because it's never comfortable when you go through it. But it taught me, it helped me throughout my life to be more self-sufficient,
That's powerful, and actually that's what I was
Mm,
asking, because that's
mhm,
that moment right there. It's
mhm,
and I like how you say, when you look at it in retrospect. You said
mm,
you used to write. You went back. One of the things that this experience also made you miss was your education at some point. And you see, your dad
mhm.
says the police will come for you if you go to school. So you're literally a kid at a crossroad.
Mhm.
School is an, you are thinking that you should go to school because education is clearly important, but it
Mhm.
also like may be putting you at risk because
W-
you're in the state custody, and your dad has a
mhm.
logic to it. And as much as you are staying with dad, you're also staying with your father in hiding because you are in the custody of the state. Before I ask what the question I wanted to ask, did the state ever come calling? Did the state ever like reach out again, look for you or things like that? No.
Nope, nope. And I stayed out the way. Like, hey, I was like, in them years, I made sure I wasn't in positions to where the police would. I mean, there was times I had to run from the police. Just I'm
Wow.
running. Because in that mix of time, like I'm in the streets. You know what I mean? Where that's where drug dealers are at. That's where people doing drugs is at. Alcoholism is at. And I'm out at. I'm young. And now I mean, looking back, I know I was lost emotionally because I never got what I needed to be a confident person growing up. So I'm in these streets and I'm just kind of doing whatever. Hey, you want to party over here? Yeah, let's go over here. Let's go over there. Let's go do. People just. I'm not guiding my life. They are. Let's do this. Let's do that. Okay, here we go. Yep, yep. I'm a people pleaser. Let's go.
Yeah.
And that's the byproduct to me of childhood trauma is that people pleasing, not being able to stand in your on your 2 feet and say, no, I really don't want to do that today. Are you,
Mm.
and that's trauma is it's so relevant, it's so real, and it carries. I mean, I know my trauma, I can't speak for everybody, but I know my trauma, it carried on for years and into my marriage and into, even, raising my kids, so until I, looked within and I tried to look and see what is wrong here. You know what I mean? Like what not wrong, but what can I be better at? What can I fix here to make out here look different?
Mm. Wow. You are writing. You are out of school, but you said you used to spend time writing. What are you writing?
Mm.
Because that is like some form of education in a sense. And
Yeah.
the fact
Mhm.
that you did not, the fact that now you had to lose out on some years, going to
Right.
school, you
Mhm.
had to lose out on your education there. How did you redefine education for Tina? Because you're out there, like you're waking up, you're writing things. What are you writing? What was the inspiration behind your writing?
I would just like back then I used to just write down my feelings, my thoughts, like what I was thinking about. I used to make short stories just to have something to do. You know what I mean? I mean, phones they were just I think they were coming out. But like that was all I had was a notebook, a notepad, and a pencil. So I used to write short stories, just um things like that, just do write what I thought, or I used to write imaginary letters to my dad because
Yeah.
I was mad back then. I was a hot mess back then, so I used to write him mad letters, but I knew I would never give them to him. Uh-uh.
Oh,
But
goodness.
yeah.
All right. Some interesting comments.
Mhm.
Everyone is like, everyone is just like resonating and just trying to like send some love and hugs. And
Thank
then
you.
Fabulous Nat says, "Isn't it interesting how we all have different journeys, yet some things are similar?" Um,
Man.
and and then Eva Kika says, "Mental heart never heals easily. Never heals easily." Um,
Mm,
and then Isindise was like reflecting on the intensity of how a girl can yearn for her mom. And I
mm,
think just trying to, I think, to explain that part where you have to like go and see mom. Living in the
mhm,
park alone, yeah, living in the park alone and on the edges, and it's cold, and you can imagine what happens. Ketopro says, what we went through as children does not redefine the rest of our lives. And I think that is what you just tried to say earlier. And then Fabula says, yes, the byproduct of childhood trauma, the
mm.
byproduct of trauma. So
Right.
Tina, you turn 18. You're now an adult.
Mhm,
You're no longer
mhm.
like how do I put it? You're no longer like a mistake or something to be hidden from the state. You're
Right,
now
right.
you're now like an adult. What is that
Mhm.
transition like from being a child to an adult? And what did it mean for you personally? Because now this means at least you can get, is it like you can get a license, you can get an identification or something like that. You can be making decisions about your life without
Mhm.
having to like worry about some state or your dad. What was that transition like, especially knowing what you went through from 13 to 18, that 5 years must have been pretty rough.
It was. But when I turned 18, I think I turned to 18. I didn't know what to do. Like I literally didn't know what to do when I turned 18. I'm like, do I go back to school? Should I get a job? I mean, what I do. I didn't
Yeah.
know. So um I had in them years I had lived like I didn't have any money, you know what I mean? Because I couldn't get a job. There was no way for me to work. I couldn't do anything, you know what I mean? But and so I went out. I went without a lot of the times. I didn't have things. My dad, he didn't have it to give. So once I turned 18, I got a job. No, I waited till I was 19. I got a job at
Mhm.
Kentucky Fried Chicken, and I stayed there for 7 years. So I made myself to the lead, and then to the manager, the supervisor and the manager working there. Yeah,
Wow.
thank you. Yes. Because I was worried. I'm like, I ain't got no high school diploma. You know what I mean? Don't you need some type of degree? But I didn't say it. I'm thinking this. So I'm like, I hope they don't go look.
Yeah, because I mean, you're growing up the ranks, you're being promoted, and that means that your work is amazing. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now that I got from my dad, because my dad, I remember watching him walk outside to his car at like 6 o'clock in the morning, and his back used to hurt him, and he'd have his. I can still see him in my head just talking to you. Um, but his back would be hurting, and he would every day. He go every day, every day, every day. So there was a lot of his principles and his morals and values that I saw through his movement. He didn't have to tell me. I saw him. So I knew when I got to be 19, okay, I do what you did, right? That's the cycle of life for the most part. As a child growing up, you tend to cycle certain things out.
Yeah.
So, but yep, stayed there for 7 years. I stayed there. And then when I got married really young, I got married at 20,
Oh
20.
wow.
Hmm. Yeah, I got married young. So, and I mean, even my dad told me, my dad was like, "You really should. You're too young. What are you doing? What are you doing? You're too young." I'm like, here comes rebellious Tina. Yeah, I'm in love. I'm in love. I know what I'm doing.
I was, I was going to
Ah.
I was going to ask, your marriage, was it out of love, or was it out of rebellion, or just trying to prove a point to dad, or the world?
Um. No, I really thought I was in love. I really did. I would. I did. I mean, but hindsight 2020, right? I don't know what love is. I don't. And nobody taught me how to love. I didn't know how to love. I didn't know who I was. I didn't know what I wanted. I didn't know anything. And I'm like, looking back now, I'm like, I don't know what I was thinking. I really don't. I mean, I too believe I was too young, you know. But, that man brought me stability, you know what I mean? He brought me, a partner, you know what I mean? Somebody to navigate this world with. So it was
Mm.
like, and we do. I mean, even when we weren't married, we were still building. You know what I mean? We're getting cars. We're getting, we're accumulating a lot of things because he's working, I'm working. So the beginning was great. I mean, it was a lot of growth in the beginning, material wise.
Okay. Um,
Hmm.
so you're growing. So there's a marriage happening here. You're growing at work.
Hmm.
What's the relationship with dad like? Now as an adult, because that's also very important. I'm still trying to make sure that I can see the linkage.
Hmm.
With dad.
Oh, yeah, that's still my rock. Like he was still I still go over there and see him every Father's Day. I'm taking him things.
Yeah.
I'll go over there and talk to him. He'll be in the garage working or in the basement, and he used to he makes wooden toys.
Oh,
So,
nice.
yeah, so I always find him somewhere doing something, and I go over there and just talk to him all the time, and just visit with him, and then when I bought my first house, I bought the house. His house was right here, and then my house was right behind his.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, we were like neighbors. Hey, Goga, can you hold on 1 second? I think I'm gonna plug this phone in. I think the battery light came on.
No worries, no worries.
Okay,
And thanks so much, everyone, coming
wait.
in. I see. Let me read a few comments here
Mm,
as Tina plugs her power. And if you have any question you want to ask Tina, please feel free to drop it on the chat. I'll be able to like ask her on your behalf. We can see the chats. Pekamo is doing an amazing job making sure that nobody feels ignored over at Tina's live stream, and Helen is helping me out on my live stream. I see a number of
Let me
people
see.
coming through on the chat. If you have not yet connected
Thank
to Tina
you.
Marie, thank you. If you've not connected
Okay,
to Tina
give me one
Marie,
second.
all right. If you've not connected to Tina Marie, please, the link is pinned on top of my chat. And thank you so much, guys. I think we've gotten that to 400 and 400 plus. Thank you so much for that. If you're not part of that beautiful community, please jump over on the other side and just make sure that you're part of that beautiful community. I see Kashley in there. Welcome, Kashley. I saw Maria as well. Thanks so much for popping in. Pekamo says, it's amazing your 20-year-old heart fell in love. I like that. I want to hear the love story more. And then let me see whether, in case you don't have Tina, that is the beautiful co-host of the Sunday service today. So if you're not yet connected to Tina Marie, please jump over on the pinned link on top of my chat. It will take you over to the live stream so that you can be part of that beautiful community. And if you have any question you want to ask, if you have any comments, feel free to drop it on the chat so that at least we can we make sure that at least you guys are part of that community. Be okay. I see you there with your ninja channel. I see you there. Be okay with your ninja channel. Thanks so much. Be okay. And I've seen your comment. I'm going to like highlight it for Tina when she comes back on her seat. And yeah, and yeah, big story. In case you're listening to this story and there are some things that are resonating with you, like Anastasia Blessed just said, also like highlight those moments because that's important. Because we are now going to transition into the conversation around trauma and how she found like healing out of that childhood trauma. So that is now what you're going to like transition into. So in case you have any question, in case you have any experience, in case you have any comments that you want to share with us based on that, feel free to drop it on the chat. I'll be able to like highlight it as I ask the questions. All right. Welcome back, Tina. Are we good now?
Yep, we're good. Thank you.
All right. Be okay says we are not adults until after 30, in my opinion.
Yeah, I believe
Yeah.
you too.
Yeah. So Tina, you get married, you are working, life seems good, at least there's no risk and things like that. But deep down, there's still the child experience, there's still some yearning, at least dad is still your rock and things like that. There's still trauma, and you're still working towards your trauma. I don't know that there were any other extended other members of the extended family maybe that you are in contact with, and what is your relationship with these people like at this particular point. Now that you are at least you're having stability going on.
Right. Yeah, me and my sisters, we stayed pretty close. Back
Okay.
then we were close. So like we talked, here and there. So like if I was going through something, I can call one of them and talk to them.
Okay.
But my older sister, that's when she was like, she started having kids. So she was going through her thing too. Like she trying to beat addiction. I mean, she was an alcoholic, so she's trying to beat her addiction and raise these kids. So she had her own things going on. But
Right.
yeah, so that, and then my younger sister, she ended up leaving the house at 16. She went to foster care. She just ran away and
Oh wow.
told the state that that the abuse was going on, the physical abuse, that she kept getting beat. So they put her in foster home, and she got pregnant at 16.
Oh wow.
So they had their own things.
Yeah. How are they doing now? How are they doing today, considering that your
Mhm.
sisters siblings?
My sister passed away, my younger one,
Oh
from
no.
fentanyl overdose, and my older sister, she's sober now, and she lives in Wisconsin, like on the reservation, but she's sober. So
All right. Thank you so much for that. Answer, let me see that there's anything I may have missed on the chat. Let's talk about now the theme, something that is very like strong on your channel, the unseen. The unseen. And I want to like tie this. I want to tie
Mhm.
this like just the backstory you've given us on your childhood, your upbringing up to when at least you got into your adulthood as an
Mhm.
early as a young adult. Looking back, Looking back at these experiences between 4 and 20, for example,
Mhm.
do you feel that your childhood shaped your curiosity for the unseen or the spiritual, or it wasn't there yet until a certain age?
It wasn't there yet, but I remember at 16 it started rooting itself because I remember it was 16. I'm outside, it's raining, I'm just sitting on the porch. And it hit me like, so we're born, right? You're
Yeah.
born, you you grow up, you get a job, you get a wife, you make kids, and you die. Right. And it just this question just came to my head. And I'm like, that makes no sense. Like, and church, growing up, my dad wasn't a church person. So like God wasn't big in my household until I was like 13 and I ventured into a church on my own. I went into a Pentecostal church for the first time. And I'm like, there is no way. There's just like something's missing. Something's missing. And at 16, I remember asking myself that. And then it just dwindled away. Right.
Mhm.
I didn't research it. I didn't look for it. It was just something that I pondered, you know? So at that point, like the spirituality really wasn't there. I was really lost emotionally. Like, um, I know like when I was like 20, I used to be like happy one day, sad one day, crying the next day, angry the next day. And if something happened at like 6 o'clock in the morning, 6 o'clock that night, I'm still mad about it.
Oh wow.
I was very emotional, very emotional. On any level, on whatever I was feeling, I was at the 10th power, and I never knew why. I used to wonder, because I would always like lightweight self-evaluate, like I wonder why I'm like this. Why do I get so mad like that?
Yeah.
You know? Well, back then I didn't understand. I didn't understand why.
When did it
So,
start? When does it start making sense? At what age? And now, what
mm,
what what is that experience now that that now brought you closer to that kind of frame of thinking?
oh wow. Like 10 years ago, I went through a really traumatic time. And I mean, you know what? I'm just, and I'm just gonna be transparent, okay? Because it is what it is, and there's nothing in my past that I'm ashamed of. Everybody has one. I don't carry no guilt. I don't carry no remorse. I mean, I don't carry any negative feeling about what I've been through. But um, I'm in Ohio now, right? And make a long story short, I was left here in Ohio with no car, no money. All I had was some bags of clothes, right? I had a car, but he took the key. You know what I mean? He took my car key from me. So, and I'm at a hotel room. He left me in a hotel room. So they knock on the door and they say, "Excuse me, either you're gonna pay or you're gonna go." I don't know where I'm at. I ain't never been here. I don't know what's what. And I didn't know what to do. So I went down to the car. I packed up my bags, my clothes, whatever I could carry. And then I popped the hood and I cut every wire, every hose. I'm surprised that motor didn't hit the ground because I cut so many wires. I cut so much stuff. I mean, I broke that car down. And nobody was driving it if I wasn't. That was my motive. And I was angry. I ain't lying. I was so angry because I was a victim. You know what I mean? I'm in a victimhood. I'm like, I can't believe he did this to me. Da, 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 da. So, I talked to somebody in the street and they told me like there's a homeless shelter up the street. You gotta walk 10 blocks. It's 98 degrees. I'm like, okay. So I get to walking and there's a church I had to walk past. And I remember just sitting on a church crying and just praying. Like I didn't even know what I was praying for. I didn't know what to do. I just I was so lost. So I go to I finally get to the homeless shelter. They and I see. And this is amazing. Let me tell you. So I get to the homeless shelter and there's a lot of people there. They got like a man's side and a women's side.
Hmm.
And I get there and the lady was like, "We have one bed left." See, this is what I'm saying. Like people can't tell me there isn't divine guidance. You can't tell me that everything ain't gonna be all right. everything's always going to be all right. Even if they said they didn't have a bed, right? And I had to
Yeah.
sleep at a bus stop that night, I woke up the next day okay. I woke up the next day able to make another choice to start again. And that taught me. Now that shook my core. Oh, that shook my core because I was like, my dad's his he had a wife at that time, and his wife had 5 cancers, and
Wow.
4 or 5 different cancers or something. She was dying, right? And he was the only one I could call, and I'm like, I can't call him. I can't put this on his plate. So I stayed. I didn't know what to do. It was $98 to get a bus ticket back to my hometown, right? What do I want to go back there for? Right? Like me and my ex, we broke up, we were breaking up. It was I was addicted at that point to prescription medication. I was alcoholic too at one point. And I'm like, go back there for what? In my mind, but then it's like, stay here for what? Where do I go? What do I do? I don't know. So I sat still for a week. I just sat still. I went through the routine of the homeless shelter, what they told me to do. Then I remember thinking, like, life gives you lemons, you gotta make lemonade. You know that saying. So I found out that there's a van that goes in the back of the homeless shelter, and they take you to a job, right?
Hmm.
They uh so I got on the van. I'm out there with like 20 guys. I'm the only girl. And I'm like out there at 4 in the morning waiting for this van. So I get out there, they take me to a temporary agency here. They gave me a job. They were taking me to and from that job every day, right? And I'm making money. I'm
Wow.
sitting still, right? And then it came to the time I had a get out date at the homeless shelter. They said you have to leave after 30 days. So, I mean, 90 days, I think it was 3 months. And I'm like, dang, I don't know where to go. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, I mean, I had some money saved up, but I was like, mm. So they showed me a rooming house where you can just rent a bedroom for like $400 a month. So I ended up going there, and that's when that spiritual awakening hit me. I mean, that spiritual awakening woke it shook me to my core because now I had a safe place to be. Right, I'm by myself, and it's like a bedroom. You know what I mean? So I would get up in the morning, go to work, come home, and sit in that bedroom with nothing on, no TV, no phone, or nothing, just sit there. And I would ponder my thoughts, and I would think about life. And I remember sitting there, and I did that for 2 years, just that same routine. And that's when I started questioning life because I want to know, who am I? I'm like, if I took away my 5 senses, who am I?
Wow.
Who am I if I can't taste, touch, smell, see, or hear? Who am I? So I started pondering that question, and I'm like, in my mind, I was what's in my heart. That's who I am. My heart is good and pure and great and optimistic and intentional. Then that's who I am. That's what I leave in this world. I leave that footstep behind me. I leave that imprintation in that sand. And we get so caught up in these senses to me that it's like sometimes the lines get crossed, you know, and so I got that answer there, and then I was frustrated with God because I'm like, where are you at? Right? Because I had went to a church, and I didn't feel no better when I came out. Like I was still lost. I'm still kind of like in this spiritual awakening phase, and then also the material phase where I was still, you know, and I'm like, and I laid on my bed, I put my head back, and I'm like, they say you're in the Bible, they say you're in church, and I got quiet, and I heard in my head, I am in you. That's all I heard. It wasn't a thought. It was as if somebody was standing next to the bed and said it to me, but there's not a body there. Because that's how clear it was in my head. And let me tell you, I cried. Oh, I laid there and I cried. I cried all night because of the things that I've done, the things that I've said, the things that you mean to tell me you seen all that? Like I was like, oh my, I'm you know what? I was like, I better clean myself up. I gotta get myself together. You know,
Wow.
because I I mean, because I wasn't the greatest person. You know what I mean? I wasn't. I was, back in the day, I was terrible to people. Everything was about Tina. I had to be everything. You know what I mean? I had to look a certain way. You got to talk to me some type with some respect. You know what I mean? I was so aggressive in the way I carried myself. And the things that when I heard that, when I tell you, man, I went through it. Like for the next week, it was like I was in a zombie mode, like just walking, just I wasn't even present in the world. I was like up here thinking about like, damn, what can I do to be better? Because if you're in me, right, and I'm out here doing all this evil stuff and all this, how can I be better for you? How can I show up and show out for you? And so it made me start thinking like, and now I'm really thinking about life, right? Because now I'm like, dang, it seems like things of this earth are planted there to keep you away from who you are. Like cars and houses and name brand clothes and all this stuff, you know, drugs, right? Drugs are there to keep you away from that trauma from healing. Because as long as you got drugs, you're not healing. You know what I mean? We're always gonna take that drug that feels good and makes you forget your problem. But then I was like, I just started asking. After that, I went deep. I mean, I researched every emotion that a human being has: sadness,
Wow.
happiness, any emotion. And then I would research the opposite of it because I want to know what the cause and effect, right? So I'm like, okay, so if I get angry because of this, right? What's the opposite of angry? Happiness. Okay, how can I achieve that if I know I can get this? So I used to, I for days, and I mean, I used to sit there and research a lot of stuff like that. And I mean, it was just a journey of like literally like awakening in my mind. Like, I don't even know how to explain it, but I remember one time I was laying in my bed and I was like, I got tired of thinking. I was like, I'm tired of thinking. Like, I'm telling you, I was so tired of thinking because I would always replay like what I've been through in my mind, right? And I didn't know what I was doing. So I laid in a bed and I stopped my thoughts. I just laid there and just stopped thinking. Like literally got quiet and stopped thinking. I didn't know I was meditating. I didn't know I'd ever heard of meditation.
Wow.
I didn't even know what I was doing. So so I would just lay like, God, I'm tired of thinking. I don't want to, I don't I didn't know the answers. And at this point, right before my spiritual awakening, I was paranoid. Like, so when I got left here in Ohio, I was paranoid really, really bad. Like I thought the world was against me. It was really bad. I was paranoid.
Hmm.
I mean, to the point where if somebody saw me, they could have institutionalized me for real. They could have put me somewhere in an institution if somebody would have knew to the extent of what I was, how bad it was. And I believe in divine. I believe in spirit. I think there's one God, and no matter which direction you take, it's the right one for you. Not to be condemned, not to be judged. I don't care if you worship a Barbie doll. If that's what gets you to the light and to being a better person, then please do that. You know what I mean? Let me encourage that, because that's what this is for. So I'm in it, so I'm paranoid, and I'm trying to work on self. I go to work every day. I'm quiet. I don't talk. I just kind of be to myself. And then slowly I started making friends, here and there. But then the friends would be like, hey, you should come to my house and we hang out, and I'd be like, no, I'm going home. And I made it a point every day to go home and sit in that room in the quiet. And I didn't care what was going on outside. Their parties. I'm gonna buy you this. You want that. We can go. No, 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 no. So I would do that. And I was, and I didn't know at the time, like I was being worked on, you know what I mean? I was being guided internally. I was being like like God was moving through me and out of me, and he was clearing out all that negative energy I was carrying, and I didn't know it. I did not know it, but I know there were times when I'm asking God, like Like I, because life was like, that's when I was going through that, it was scary because you ask, you realize like, this matrix that we live in, you start to see like, oh, there's purpose to that, and there's purpose to this, and we're doing this because of that. And we wear shoes because that blocks the energy that comes from the earth that should be in our bodies, that isn't in our bodies. You know what I mean? Like, there was like so many revelations like that. And I was still kind of fearful in the moments. And one night something triggered me to open the Bible. But and I'm not familiar with the Bible. I've read here and there, but I'm not really I never in the past never really read the Bible. I picked up the book of Revelations and I read it out loud. When I was done reading that book of Revelations, I no longer had fear of nothing. Nothing. I didn't care if I died tomorrow. I had no fear. No fear
Wow.
at all. Like, I and I didn't understand why, I didn't notice it right away, you know what I mean? But I started noticing it and I'm like, dang. So, the that where I was at then, it just continued and continued, right? So I started researching deeper, like spirituality, like, who are we, and my truth is like, I believe we're spirits in this body and we're here on this earth. And this is a school, right? We're here for the experience to grow our spirits. Because up here, our memories and our hearts are what we're taking when we leave. That's it. That's all. So going through the motions of, that hardship I've been through, going through everything that I've been through. Somebody told me one time, they said the devil will never rob an empty house. Know that. And I was like, oh, it hit me when they said that. Like, it helped me because I was like, okay, okay, okay. So how do I step into my power? What's my power? So I started realizing that, like, because I was digging real deep into, like, the scientific part of spirituality, and that can get complex.
Hmm.
And I'm like, you know what? My truth is my truth, and that's the way I'm gonna see it. That's it. I mean, everybody may not agree with me, and that's okay. But I believe, like, we're spirits here on this earth, right? And it's like we walk into a world of distractions, right? It's like this earth is set up to put these monopolies in front of us to get us to go down rabbit holes that ain't good for us. And the whole time, it's to come back to self and who you are and understand that your power lies within you, not outside of you. Your power is the kindness and the love you give to the world, the understanding, the when you see somebody hurting, ask them how their day going. That might open a conversation. You see somebody hungry, stop and get them a meal. That's the purpose of life to me. It's like, s- keeping love on this realm, in this earth, on this earth, is to keep that love and kindness and support to our fellow beings. I don't care if you're purple and green. If there's something I can do to help you, I'm gonna help you. But that life of struggle taught me boundaries. It taught me, like, um I'll help you if I can, you know what I mean? But that being taken advantage part, I can't deal with that. I can't. I'm not gonna have, I have to have boundaries set around myself, so I know that I'm good. Because one thing I've learned in my journey is that you can only give out what you have inside. That's it. So when somebody treats you like, they come up to you and they're treating you dirty or they're doing this, that's what's inside of them. It has nothing to do with you. All that it is inside. If I'm a person of peace and love, I'm gonna treat everybody around me like that. But and sometimes they don't recognize it. The people that treat other people badly, they don't recognize why they're doing it. And so to stand there and condemn somebody and call them this and call them that and your dog this and your all you're doing is bringing all that karma back to yourself. Because we live in a world, what you put out must come back. And words are power. Deeds are power. Energy is real. Energy is so real in this world. We are energy beings. We are thoughts. It taught me my thoughts are like when I think a thought, right? When I heard that voice in my head and he said, I'm in you. Oh, I know you hear my thoughts. Oh Lord, I was so ashamed of myself. But we're to me, thoughts are power. Thoughts send vibrations into the world. Like Goga,
Mhm.
you're all the way in Nigeria
Kenya.
or Kenya.
Yeah.
Goga, if I sit here after we hang up and I think about you and I send you love and light and prosperity, right? You are going to feel that on an energetic
Ab-
level.
Absolutely. I will.
Yes, yes. And so I always, in my mind, I control my thoughts. I always control, like if I get a bad thought, I know to recognize that bad thought. Like, hey, no. And normally a bad thought only comes when I'm like emotional or if I get irritated with something. If I get irritated, then I get that bad thought like, oh, they get on my dang nerves. And then I have to check myself like, stop, Tina, stop. Don't do that. You know, um, it taught me the power of the circle you keep, and how influential that circle is on your being, on your body. Like even today when I go to work, I take my lunch break by myself because the things that they talk about on lunch break, I have to take that in and then I'll think about what you said an hour ago. And I don't want to think about what you said an hour ago. So I protect my subconscious mind because
Wow.
I don't want it on replay. Replaying. I want it on replay if you're giving me some good, give me some good insights. Please do. But negativity and complaining and I don't, and I get it. Everybody's not on a journey to, seeing the best in life. And that's okay. I'm big on meeting people where they're at. Meet people where they're at, and sometimes that energy and where they're at isn't for you. And that's okay. You just get out of the way. Let them do their thing. But no judgment, no hate. There's today, it's just like I just see life for it was weird though, because once I started learning who I was, I understood everybody else.
That's powerful. There's a statement here that I want to I'm going to actually frame maybe the question I wanted to ask.
Hmm.
I usually I love the Sunday service because people ask questions on my behalf, so it kind of makes it easy for me. So and that tells you about the energy. And I kept on telling you, your energy drew me. Like I don't know, there's something that just drew me to you, and I was like, you need to come to the Sunday service. You did
Mm.
not know me, I did not know you, and we just like knew that it had to happen energetically, and that for
Hmm.
me is really very powerful and very premium. And I felt like there's a way we resonate spiritually, and I think it will be great to have you just to come and share that particular experience. There's a comment here that you said our experiences make us who we are for sure, and there's something you said about, sorry, it was, you should be able to wake up and make a different choice. That comment, that's what I was trying to get from Fabulous. You say that you
Hmm.
you chose to stay in Ohio.
Hmm. Oh, and then I didn't reach back out. I didn't call home for 5 years.
Yeah,
Lit-
I figured as much because I'm not hearing home in this story, and I'm
Mm-mm.
like, was
Mm-mm.
this part of the inner work? Because you chose to stay there. You
Mhm.
chose. Normally, a statement I love from one of my wellness coaches, and she says, you know, you bloom where you're planted. You decided to bloom.
That's a good one.
Yeah,
Mm.
you decided to like bloom, and you decided to plant yourself away from home. You could have,
Mhm.
you decided not to call dad because you're like, dad has enough problems with the wife. Let me not bother. I am not going back to my ex.
Mhm.
I am not reaching
Mhm.
out to anybody because you could have actually gone back to Wisconsin, but you just
Mhm.
chose not to go there. What made that? That was like a deliberate choice, and it appears to have worked in your favor in a sense. The divine
Yes,
light
no, it
really.
has. Oh, it has. Oh, believe me, I believe like the situation I was in, it was all that was gonna happen regardless, I think. Because what it did was it pulled me away from, excuse me, all my old bad habits. It literally gave me, like you say, new soil,
Yeah. Oh,
right? So when you're in new soil, the possibilities are endless. You know what I mean? I can focus on who I am and what I need to be. And it without that, I don't think I would ever have like been the person I am today. If I would have stayed in my hometown,
Mm.
because there was so much distractions there. Um, but it was hard here, like, because there's a lot of like when I was here, well, with my experience, it was like a lot of men would approach me, and try to get me to go down roads I just left in Wisconsin. And I'd be like, no, and so it was a lonely process, it was a lonely it was like I had a whole world up here, but out here I had to do the routine. But up here, it was so much going on, because I was alone. I felt lost. I felt like nobody was there for me. I had nobody, didn't know where I was at, didn't know what to do. So all I knew is like all I knew was like, okay, get on your feet, get on your feet, get on your feet. That's all I kept knowing, like get on your feet. So when I got that job at they put me at a toy company, right? And I'm at this toy company. I just left I was at the homeless shelter. It there was people in there. Once I started like dropping like the paranoia feeling, right? And I started to like understand that my choices are my outcomes,
Mm.
right? Because there was no accountability. I never had none because I was a victim. Oh my God, everybody was just after me. Everybody know, da, 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 da. Right? So as long as I can blame somebody, I will never change. I will never take account on the parts that I played in it. Because 99, 98%.
I love that because they always say sometimes you have to take
Mm,
accountability and responsibility for your own.
mm.
Absolutely, I love that.
And that was so no, that was another high point in my awakening when I played my life back mentally. Like I played my life back, and I'm like, dang, I agreed to that, and I agreed to this, and I said yes to that, and I said yes to this. I'm like, and then I said he ain't no good. Oh,
I,
uh,
I like how you
mm-mm.
said it because there's a time I think when I was going through some phase and we glorify healing sometimes, but we never take responsibility for our actions that led us
That
essentially to this path.
right,
Yeah,
right. That part,
and
like nobody.
nobody
I'm
nobody
sorry.
talks about it.
I
Carry on.
didn't even. I didn't know what it was. You know what I mean? Until I played my life back, and I'm like, I went from childhood all the way up and back down again, and came back up because I was looking for lessons. I knew I'm like, there's a greater purpose to everything we go through, right? And I'm like, okay, well, what lesson did I miss? What lesson? Well, okay, there was a lesson in this, and like this part of my life, right? Because it was a hardship. I mean, and I would sit there and I'd ponder it, like, okay, did I get patience out of that? Did I get clarity out of that? Did I get direction out of that? What was the lesson in that struggle back then that I went through? So, um, so that taught me, like, even today I use it. I don't have a time is bad when you say it's bad. Once you put bad, now you got
Mm.
all this. You got depression, you got anxiety, you got don't label it. Right? That's what I do. I don't have problems. I would never say I have problems because that words are power. So what you speak must come back. So say you got problems, you're gonna find some more, you're gonna look for some more, you're gonna have some more. So me myself, I try to look at like the 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 words that I speak, the way that I think.
Mm.
It's just I don't know how to say. What was the original question you asked me though? I
No,
kind
no,
of
it was
lost
just
that.
it was actually just a comment I was resonating with what you just said in terms of taking responsibility for our own
Oh
actions.
yeah,
Comes
accountability.
to
Yes,
accountability.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That's a big one though. A lot of us, and trauma does that to us. It's not like, okay, I don't want to be accountable today. I want the world to be at fault. No, it's that trauma that's in your heart. Like one day
Mm.
I was watching a video, and I saw this man, and he was talking about his childhood, and he's talking regular. And he started talking about a part in his story, and I mean tears just started falling down. And in my mind, first thought I had was, that's where you need to heal, right there. Right there. That part right there. Take that part, dissect it, and heal from that. And I
Uh-huh.
promise you it'll help. You know what I mean? Because until you heal, you replay. You replay those. If I'm replaying a traumatic event in my life, although and once I think it, all those emotions come back up in my body, and I'm now feeling that all over. And I'm on a repeat. I'm on a repeat. But we don't know enough to stop it because a lot, like I used to sit there and let my past, you
Mm.
know, I would my past, even like one day I woke up, and I remember I woke up and the first thought I had that morning was yesterday. And I had to stop myself. Why are you replaying yesterday? Today's a new day. I can't go back there. Yesterday's gone. But it was, and that just happened like 2 months ago, where I woke up and I paid attention to what was my first thought in the morning. Because I won't pick up my phone first thing in the morning. In the morning time, I won't pick the phone up because I don't want that to dictate my mindset. So I woke up and I was like, dang, I'm living in yesterday. And once you do that, you tend to do that. You don't see the future. You're not optimistic, you're not hopeful. So and it's just tiny little adjustments like that could help. That could help. I know it helped me. It made me like, I don't living yesterday. Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
Manenze, thank you so much for that membership and that super chat. I really appreciate you giving me that color on the chat. And I'm being told by your moderator that we've designated on your chat that I need to make you smile a bit. So I'm going to make you smile,
Aw.
Tina. Pekamo is saying we need to make Tina smile. By the way, you're already beyond 400 subscribers. I thought you should know.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yes, I thought I should let you know. Pekam, are you happy?
Thank you.
And then I'm being harassed here by some respected channel member of mine. Um, these are quick commercial break questions.
Okay.
What is your take on okra? I know this is very random in the middle of a conversation about healing and stuff, but
Mhm.
what is your take on what is your take on okra, David?
Okra.
David, this is a Native American you're asking these questions, so let's hear the answer.
What is my take on okra?
Yeah.
I think okra is good in like water, things, any kind of plant based like that. It's healing for
Mm.
our bodies. I'm Native American, so we used to live off the land and herbs and things like that. So okra, I like to put it in water and then drink the water. Now I don't like it cooked because it's too slimy. It's real slimy in the middle.
Okay,
Like
Tina, thank you. Thank you
but
for the answer. Thank you
put
for
in
the
some
answer.
water.
Thank you. We got it at the first time. I have to make
Hmm.
sure that the manager politically so that she does not go and give a whole op-ed on okra. Uh, but do you take it like in water? Do you take okra water and things like that?
Yeah, yeah. I don't eat meat. I love drinking like I try to eat healthy, mindful eating. I
Okay.
try. Mhm.
Right. And then Ayman says you have a beautiful smile, and I think everybody is laughing because of our silence too over the other opinion on okra. No, Tina has been there, so she knows why I'm asking that question because she's been to enough Sunday services to know that yes, I've been
Mhm.
asked these questions. So I like how she's trying to get politically
Mhm.
correct there. But and then
Mhm.
Kate, hey, I like
Mhm.
this comment by Keith. Keith says, "In my healing service, I ask what will be beautiful for your life to
Mhm.
be like bring healing," and I think I like that. This is going to help me like answer the next, ask you the next thing.
Okay.
You said, I like what you said. You loved going home into the silence and the stillness. The
Mhm.
book of Psalms, chapter 46, um, 10 says, "Be still and know." You love.
Mm.
There's something about the stillness, and you when people are inviting you for
Mm.
things after work, you want to run back home to nothing. It sounds, to a normal person that sounds weird by all many levels because we want the distract people crave for the distractions, as you say. People want the fun, the good bits. But for you,
Mhm.
wanted just that silence because there is something. There was knowledge that was coming in you sitting down in stillness, in you processing
Mhm.
your thoughts. You are doing some inner work in that little room that you are staying in anytime you come out from work.
Mhm.
And that right there is a lesson for us because that for you was like the shift. That was like a spiritual like growth for you. Why is it important for us to be still? Because most people, yes, the Bible itself says that in stillness, yeah, be still and know. I mean, it's already confirmed that in stillness there is knowledge. But why is it so difficult for people to stay still, especially in the world we live in today? What's your take on this?
I
Because
think it's
stillness sometimes is like a mirror. It's like a
Mhm.
reflection of you, and you're kind of scared. What will I find in that moment of stillness?
Yes. Yes. I mean, and again, I didn't do none of this intentional. I didn't know, like, I didn't know, I've never heard, like, I didn't do spirituality before this. I didn't
Yeah.
know what it was. A lot, I didn't know it was like, and again, I feel like I was being pulled, very slowly along some journey of life, and I didn't know what it was. But when I was really, really lost, I mean, when I left the homeless shelter and I'm at this rooming house and it's in the hood of Ohio. So I'm like, okay. I remember sitting on the stairs one night and I was crying and I just kept saying in my head, like, I just want to come home. I just want to go home. And I just kept crying and saying it over and over. Right. And I'm like, why do I keep saying that? And I'm like, well, I don't belong here. I'm not comfortable here. I don't fit into no type of ethnic group or popularity group or I'm like, I just feel like I didn't like I just was like the missing puzzle piece that wasn't supposed to be there. So I kept saying, like, I just want to go home. And literally right after that, that's when that 2-year run came in where I was just still, right? And after like years afterwards, I realized what I was searching for was home, was here. It was my heart. It was my peace. It was my soul. It was to be still. Let that distraction go. Yeah, we all as humans, I think, want to do what feels good to us, which is, let's go drink, let's go smoke some weed. You know what I mean? We're going to go over here and turn up. We going to whatever it is, or let's go spend some money, or and I'm not I mean, all that is great for whoever does it. I'm not taking nothing away from that, but everything is to me, everything is good in moderation. You know what I mean? Like you do whatever, however. But when I sat still like that, that was home. Once I got there, I belonged everywhere. I belonged everywhere. My job, I was a temp living in a rooming house. I went from it was a big warehouse and I went from a temp to the lead to the supervisor to the assistant warehouse manager. I was running second shift. That supervisor answered to me. It was like I was home. Like once I looked within and I started finding peace and letting go of like stress. I let go of the anger. I let go of the anxiety. And only way I could do that is to release those emotions was to change my thinking.
Wow.
Once I changed my thinking, and I was like, okay. I used to say I hate people, and I said, okay, I'm gonna start saying I love people. Even though I didn't at that point in time, I'm gonna love people, right? And once I started doing that, it seemed like people were like I was a walking magnet. Everybody started coming up to me, talking to me, and strangers would tell me their life stories on the bus stop, and I'd go to the store, and people wanted to be like, hey, just I'm like, I noticed it. So, if somebody would make me mad, right? Okay, that's just how they are. They went through something to get like that. That's not my burden to pick up. That's not for. I'm not gonna match your energy. Let me move the other way. Now that's still a work in progress. Cause okay, look, I'm not perfect yet, right? But that's still a work in progress. Like when somebody disrespects you in any type of way. Because disrespect is gonna happen to me. In this world, but it's not what you say, but how you say it. So I don't have to cuss you out and I don't have to match your energy, but I will let you know that I'm not gonna have that. You're not gonna stand there and disrespect me, in the most polite way. And sometimes that has the biggest effect in me going back and forth with a person. So um I lost my train of thought.
No, no, I think it's well said. And
Okay.
yeah. The next thing I'm going to ask, I'm just going to ask questions and that just around your spiritual awakening, as that at
Hmm.
least we can get to have you talk about this. In your
Hmm.
channel, you talk about the non-physical attributes to life. What
Hmm.
does it mean to you personally? And I normally don't. I'm always very keen on people's descriptions on how they define themselves because there's power into the words that we weave to describe who we are. Um, what does that mean to you personally, Tina?
Oh, the attributes of the non-physical world. That would, to me, that means, oh wow, the way you treat yourself, right? How you show up for self, right? That's first and foremost. There is no selfish in this world when you're trying to better yourself to show up better in the world. The non-physical is kindness and love, right? It's compassion and empathy. It's intentional. It's gratitude. It's having faith, right? It's understanding that I show up every day for the light. That's it. I don't Every day I ask spirit, I ask creator, like, use my vessel to shine through your power, because that's where, like, I believe, like, that's the non-physical. I believe, like, we are all vessels for that spiritual, but we are spirits. Like, because when my dad died, I wanted to know where he went, and I started researching, like, afterlife. I started researching, like, near death experiences. I started, and I mean, I went on like a 5-month tangent with that because I wanted to know, you know, and I tend to take what my friend told me one time. She said, "Tina, take the meat and leave the bones." And so I do that. Once when I'm done with my research, I'll reflect, and then I'll be like, okay, so this is what I got out of it, right? And some of that stuff, it's not for me. You know what I mean? No, no harm, but we are all conscious beings. Our conscious level is our spirit. Being here, our conscious is being aware. To be aware of where you're at, what you're doing. Be intentional about how you are. Because I believe, like, right now we are in the middle of a shift, and an energy shift. What they say, the end of the world. They say, oh, the end of the world is coming. No, one consciousness is shifting. That's why, to me, in my mind, that's what the shift is all about. So when people say the world is coming to an end, no, one world may be coming to an end because it's elevating. We're in a time of evolution and growth. That's why there's so many people that I see that are awakened, that are more aware of what they're doing. They question things. They thrive to be better. You want to leave your ripple in the sand to be, I mean, your footprint in the sand for the next generation to grow from what you left. So, and I think that's like the part of our non-physical,
Mm,
you know, because when my dad died, I thought about everything I got from him. I evaluated it, and I was like, wow, I got his at work ethic. I got his, to where he would grind and make, something out of nothing. And I knew to do all that. I knew, like, his legacy was what he left inside of my body. It wasn't his house, it wasn't his money, it wasn't his cars. That was his legacy, because now I carry it on in my generation and on to the next. And to me, the non-physical is the love and the kindness, and or the growth or the consciousness or the awareness of the knowing of what you're doing and how you're doing it, and having that insight to see how it's going to impact the next person. Like, if I'm talking to you, I'm taking in how you're taking me. I'm just naturally doing that, and it's being aware of that. It's not what you say, but how you say it to people. I can
mm,
talk to anybody in this world, but it's you got to know who you're talking to. You know what I mean? It's having that awareness, that higher awareness. Like now I know I have a spirit guide that walks with me. Everywhere I go. You can call people call them angels. People can call them, you know, or whatever. But I have a spirit guide that's been with me since I've been born. So and today I'm never alone. Oh, I'm never alone. Like I talk to my spirit guide, like, hey, how you doing? Like, hey, I got this problem. Look, we got to talk here, okay? And the creator's inside, and creator, he's inside of me, so he's hearing it too. He can hear me talking. But I'm telling you, like, and then when I look at all the near misses in my life, to where like I know I should have been dead. I know I should. I know there was something greater than me that stopped that. There was something greater. So like, and that gives me the faith. And if I can
Mm,
make it through the things that I've been through in my life, there's nothing you can't get through to me, in my mind, you know, and literally it's all a thought process. Like to me, it's just it all like your mind will play with you for real. Your mind, sit still for a minute. Sit still. I promise you, you will get the answers you're looking for. And that's what I do today. Like if I have a problem, I'll get real quiet and just sit.
mm.
No TV. I haven't turned my TV on in over a year. Like I don't watch because of my subconscious mind though. Because I don't want programming to be programmed. I
What
think,
you mind? Mm.
mm-hmm. Yeah. So I'm always aware of the things, and, or even people I talk to. I'm aware of like, because see, actions to me, people's physical actions will tell you who they are on the inside, or where they believe, or where they come from. Watch your actions. That's it. And it doesn't mean that I'm judging you. It doesn't mean that I'm condemning you. It just means that it shows what you've been through. It shows, like I can see past, I use that almost like I don't know, like an outside reader to the inside. Like I see people from the inside out. Your character is gonna speak to me louder than anything you do, or anything you can give me, or anything. It's your character, it's your intentions,
Mm.
that's what I'm gonna see first. Like how you talk to me, how you make eye contact with me, how you approach me, how you say goodbye. It's all of that, that I see. But I'm not gonna speak on it, you know what I mean? And it's not gonna be judgmental. It's just it gives me insight, you know,
The inner compass,
to
the knowledge that
yeah,
you,
like that inner compass.
yeah.
Yeah, it's like that inner compass. It's like I tell people, like, because I can pick up vibes real easy on people, like in person, and I'll know because I pay attention to how I feel. Like I don't feel right. Something don't feel good right here. I'll get the moving. Or it's like the way you feel. If you pay attention to that will that's like your intuition. But you
Mm.
have to trust it in order for it to work. If you don't trust it, it won't work.
You also talk,
So go ahead.
yeah, just something close to that. You also say there's something I like also that you say, what is meant for me will come to me.
Mm.
And that is an element of surrender. It takes like a very it takes a very it takes a lot of inner work to be able to get to that, to say that kind of a thing, surrendering yourself to the process, the journey, or whatever it is that life.
Mm.
How has surrender really shaped your spiritual journey as a Tina, and why is it important?
Oh, oh, now
Because
that
sometimes surrender is also just surrendering to the process, the learning, the healing itself. Just what does surrender look like for your spiritual journey?
oh wow. That surrendering to me is like what's meant for me to it will always find its way to me. It's putting faith in life. It's putting faith in God. It's putting faith in creator. It's putting faith in like the knowing, the knowing that I will always be okay. There's nothing in this world, you know, even death. I don't die when I die. I'm going on to my consciousness is gonna leave this vessel, but I'm still aware once I exit this body and into the next, my awareness is still there. You know what I mean? So I'm still okay, even if I die. So people, I mean, so I look at that man, that's it's the knowing, it's like having that peace. Because once you have that knowing, like everything will come to me. it's almost like you trust the process. You're in waiting. Well, let's wait. It's on its way. It's on its way. It's coming. I tell people that all the time too, because I like to see things. I like to, like, if I have a prayer, if I have a want or a need, I gotta see it from the end first in my mind.
Mm,
So, like where I'm at now, I live by myself in a 1 bedroom apartment, right? And I when it was a while ago, somebody said something, and they said, appreciate where you're at because you're sitting in a prayer you prayed 5 years ago. And like it hit me real hard because I am exactly where I wanted. I got a new car, I got a brand new car, I got a nice job, I got a house, I live alone, I'm self-sufficient, I work on self to be better, I like my life is peace. It's peaceful. And I used to pray for peace. And I'm here
mm.
now. I'm
This
here,
is
like here in peace.
the
Not
prayer.
yeah, like and then it made me take an evaluation of my life, right? Because then I'm like, okay, so what other prayers am I sitting in that I prayed, 2 or 3 years ago? Because I gotta be grateful. Hold on, let me give some thanks, right? So, but you know, I had to me it's like prayer, like when you pray or you manifest something, you set the intention, right? And the universe will help you get that. Like, but you have to get up and make some moves happen too. I can't just be like, okay, I need $1 million and boom, it falls through my ceiling. You know what I mean? Get up there, make you a plan, see it from the end, and you will get it. Because you will have help along that way. You will have, as long as you set that intention to create what you want. There people will come out of the woodwork like, hey, and they'll be there to help you through that. But I always try to see it from the end, everything from the end first. If I mean when there's something I want or something I need, or so yeah.
There's something you say there that I love that, giving heaven, universe, or whatever it is you believe in to work with.
Mhm.
You have to put in some work as well.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
those people have read the book by Elizabeth Gilbert, Eat, Pray, Love, and when she was giving that story about this person used to pray every single day to win the lottery, and then
Mhm.
one day, the voice of the divine got tired and said, "Please buy a ticket." Like you can't be paid.
Like,
You
get
can't be
up.
paid. Yeah,
Get up.
like do something. You can't give heaven something to work with. Like you can't be praying that you want to meet
Oh.
and you've never bought a ticket. So I totally love that that analogy. Tina, in your personal experience spiritually, do the answers, especially to the questions you seek, do they come to you in silence, synchronicities, or through people? In your
Oh,
experience. Yeah.
all of the above for me.
Oh, okay.
Like, you know, I think it's all of the above. Or sometimes if I have a question, I'll intentionally go to bed with this question on my mind, and I wake up the next morning, and it's like I'll have a solution to my problem, whatever it was, or whatever the issue was, not the problem, but whatever the issue was. Um, um, or but it's been a lot like through people. If I'm going through something or I'm thinking about something, a person will come up and say something to me, and I have to do like a triple take because I'm like, did like they said something that made so much sense to where I could use that information, you know, and that could be a synchronicity too, considered a synchronicity. Um, but I've always gotten like my answers come to me like if I get silent, right? If I get real silent, my answers will come to me not in that moment, but like in the next day or two, to where I would be like, let's say I'm at work, right? And I'm zoned out, and it'll hit me like, hey, like the answer will hit me. And I'm like, huh, okay. You know, because that happened to me one time at work where I was working, and it was, I don't know what it was, but I was really zoned out at doing my job. I was just kind of like not think I was just in that moment. And that's when I got that answer.
Wow. Wow.
Hmm.
And
And I don't know. like, well, sometimes when I go to bed and I wake up, like this happens to me all the time. Well, I'll go to bed and I wake up and I'll have a word in my head and I don't know what it means. I wake up that morning and I will have a word in my head and I'm like, oh, because you know how you wake up, you get a word, you got to Google it. I'm like, I don't even know how to spell this, and it'll be like some word, right? And I'm like, okay, so I Google, I, spell it the best way I can, and it will have some type of spiritual journey, a spiritual meaning to it. Like, what was it? S- Uh, s- what was this word? It was serpentipity,
Serendipity, something like that.
now, yeah, yeah. And at that point, I ain't never heard that word.
Oh
I woke
wow.
up with this word in my head, and I'm like, I don't know, I ain't never heard this word. What is this? And I'm like, and when I Googled the meaning, I was like, wow, because then I got to take a self evaluation and find out, okay, so what do I need to do with this word? Because it came for a reason, and
Mm.
everything has a reason, purpose in his life. So yeah.
I love words, especially, and I use words a lot as intentions, especially when I
Mm,
come across, when I think of a word in the morning, and I'm like, and it has a very, like, it strikes me, like it always, there's a way a word will hit you. And I think I learned that from one of my yoga teachers. Like, words are very important, and sometimes when you don't have something to hold on to, it can be a word, and for you that can be the intention you want to send out there, into your day. Like, like, for example, the word you just used, I need this,
mm,
like, to exercise more of this. I need to. It can be something like forgiveness. Forgiveness just strikes you out of nowhere, and huh, why am I getting,
mm-hmm.
why is it important? Why did it just come out of the blue? And I think that's a very good analogy to use. There's also, like, one of the things you said earlier on. You said, I'm telling my story, yes, but I don't believe in being a victim, but a victor. When did
Mm,
you, when did you, like, have this shift in mindset? Because we love the world, and I think the world has programmed us to, like, be sharing our sob stories. We never bring in the empowerment, like, how did I turn around my life? uh we want to hang on to the, of course, it's still a part of us, it still defines what we had to go through, but most of us dwell so much into our victim story that we forget the victor story, the
mm.
triumphs, the triumph story.
Yes.
um
Mm-hmm.
yeah. And I remember there's a time somebody told me, why is it that you never share your past, and even though it was very dark. And I'm like, because
Mm,
I triumphed. Like, I kinda triumphed. I'm in a different place. I have to sell the triumph
mm,
story now. I'm not discounting that the victim story was, like, it's not there. It's just that,
mm.
I got the necessary tools to navigate and become a victor. So that's why it's
Right.
no longer very relevant now.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that Tina, that is a very difficult mindset for most people. Most people still want to be victims, but for you, you are very clear, guys. I'm a victor now. And I'm still. I recognize that I'm still on the path, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to let the victim. I'm not going to, like, let the victimhood define me. Why is that important for you in terms of a mindset change for people maybe listening, on the show?
That to me, that is a big. I think it's not thought about, like it's not put out there. You know what I mean? Like I don't come across that too much to where, like, the victim mindhood. And I know when I had that victim mindhood, I was like, what do you call it? I was like, that was that was taught, like that was part of that trauma, because I as long as I don't care if you pity me, you giving me attention. Right. And as a child of neglect, like as long as you give me some attention, I'm happy. You know what I mean? You're fulfilling something inside of me. So even if it takes me being woe is me, then yeah, I'll be that. But I was unconscious when I was doing it because I used to do it so much. So now that I'm on the other side, I want to put out there in the world, and I mean, any way I can to let people know, like, you know, there is a light at the end of the tunnel. If you can make it from that dark side and drop all those negative emotions, all those negative ways, all those negative intentions, anything that is not of creator, that is not of God, that's not where you're supposed to be. You're not supposed to be doing it. So you would, and if you are, you would just keep repeating and making more of that. because the universe don't care good or bad, right? The universe is going to supply you with what you need, right? And it's up to us on, to make them choices, to say, hey, okay, I know that's not right and I shouldn't be doing that, and I know this is right, so let me go over here and do this so I can create more of this. And I done been through the dark, right? Anybody that's been through the dark or been near it, that doesn't have to be your life. That doesn't it doesn't it And it's up to you to change that. It's up to you to say, hey, wait a minute, I don't have to continue living there. And that's why now I look for lessons in life. I look for the lessons because I believe that those even those negative choices we make, oh, they're those are lessons to
The
get to the
less.
light, or
Ooh,
to get to wherever you're trying to go. Just because, like, oh my goodness. So yeah, so now I see. I don't say bad. I don't believe in mistakes. There's no mistakes. A mistake is a lesson. You better not do that again. That ain't no mistake.
the
Nope.
lesson.
That's a lesson, and it took a whole paradigm shift. I'm telling you, my mind did a 360, and it made me start realizing that, life is how I see it. You know, life is how I see it. If I look for some negative, guess what all I'm seeing that whole day is negative, right? So if I look for positive and love and light, and I just want to be that, you know what I mean? I just want to move with great intentions. I just want to be, at peace. I want to be, then that's all I'll see for the whole day. I'll see
Mm.
people holding doors. I'll see people smiling at each other. I'll see all that. So life is perspective. Just see life. You can, and it can be done to where you let go of them negative thoughts, and that negative energy will fall. It'll come off of you. It'll it won't be there no more. But it's a choice that you have to make as an individual. We have to make those choices to make a better world. It all starts with self. If you never change self and you do what you've been doing, you're gonna keep getting what you've been getting. You But the paradigm shift, when I went through that, because I didn't even know what a paradigm meant. And then I started researching, who was it? Bob Proctor. He's a um he's a guy that focuses on the mind, like manifestation, energy, spirit, things like that. He doesn't go too deep scientifically, and I can understand that better. So when I went through mine and I started looking, like, life is perspective. Like, it's that simple. So simple. Why do we gotta complicate it? Like, well, if it's that easy, guess what I'm doing? Guess where I'm going? Guess who I'm gonna be? And I was hyping me up. Like, Tina, you got this. You can do this. On my mirror right now in my bathroom, I got affirmations written all over my mirror. I
Nice.
am love. I am endless. You know what I mean? Things that now,
So,
and that's me programming my subconscious mind, because you're gonna see it repeated. Any habit you got happened habitually. It happened over and
yes,
over.
it
Now you got a
becomes
hat.
part of your stuff. There are,
Yeah.
yeah, there are people may be holding on to pain, and
Mm.
Tina Marie, those of you, those people have been listening since you started the show with me, and they had the pain story. There are people may be struggling to move away from trauma. It can be sometimes you feel
Oh.
like the world owed you a certain thing. For you to, or to use your example, if I were you, I would be probably holding some resentment, let's say against my mom, or maybe just the world or how it treated me when I was younger. Why did I have to go through this particular hardship? So there's like a lot of pain there. There's like a lot of pain. There's a quote, I think, or a statement by Lisa Nichols, one of those motivation speakers. And, there's a time I think she said something about healing. And she said that sometimes we hold so much onto the pain because we don't know what our life would be like when empowerment kicks in. Like it's
Okay.
like you identify so much with the pain that when the universe or maybe God or maybe the divine is asking you to let it go, surrender, let it go. I got you. We are like, no,
Mhm.
I want to hold on to this pain because what will my life be like without this pain? My entire life has been around this pain. Um, you asking me to surrender means that I'm living it. What will my life look like? in case there's somebody who's listening to you right now and they're still struggling with pain, they still want to, I want to be a victim because the victim story is what I want to sell. The world has to know that I've gone through a victim story. What are some of the intentional steps? What are some of your practices, the healing practices that actually help you move from that mindset of pain to empowerment to a place of forgiveness and also to a place
Mhm.
where um, it's okay to actually let it go and actually embrace and find yourself?
I think for me, my personal thing was understanding, right? Because what we don't understand, we judge as human beings. And I was doing it with my parents, like you said, I had animosity, towards them, and I couldn't forgive them until I understood them. Once I once I put myself in my dad's shoes, right, from his childhood to where I was at with him, I understood. I was like, oh my God. Like, no, good people make bad decisions. Good people, they're just not aware that they're doing it. You know what I mean? Good people make bad decisions. And like in the situation I was in, my dad he was repeating cycle, he was like a generational cycle, right? My parents beat me, so I beat my kids, you know. And my mother, right? My mother, her mother left her. My grandmother's mother left her. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
wow. Cycle,
Yeah,
generational.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's generational, no lie. So then I come along, and then so I had some type of, but I didn't think of none of this when I had the animosity, right? I just was like, I can't believe she left us like this. Like she knew what we were gonna walk into. She knew what was gonna happen, right? Oh, I was angry, boy. But then once I put myself in her shoes, I just sat back and I looked at um like what if I was my mother in that situation? What would I have done? Right? How would I feel? What would I be thinking in them moments that she was, getting beat? You know what I mean? And like what was she going through? And then like he used to line us up on the wall and make us watch him beat her. You know what I mean? So even to have your kids, what were you thinking? You know what I mean? Like as a woman myself, I would have been broken up inside. I'd have been so it's to me forgiveness for Tina was looking back and understanding, seeking to understand the why. That brought me
Mm,
healing, that brought me forgiveness, that brought me peace. That, and then, the victimhood it started dropping off little by little. Like okay, so if I'm a victim, right, there's no lessons in it. I'm just a victim, right? So I had to stop looking at it like, dealing looking at my mom and my dad like that, or even my ex, my ex-husband, I looked at him like that, like, because he was mentally abusive to me. And, you know, like, even to this day, he doesn't understand what, like, you can't argue with a person that knows they're right. You know what I mean? You can't argue with somebody that believes who they are and what they stand for. Right. And that's not
mm,
my job to do that. Right. But I forgive you for what you did, even though you don't even realize it. I forgive you so I can move forward with my life, right? But what I'm not gonna do is keep standing there and being I'm not responsible for, like the way you feel or the things you've been through. If it's not coming off in a loving kind of way and it's always negative towards me, that means that I must get out of the way. Because as long as I stand there and I'm a victim, right? And somebody keeps throwing rocks at you, standing in the same place, right? You're like, that's such a bad person. He throw rocks at me. I'll move. All you gotta do is move out the way. That's it. And like you just said, like you said something that made me think of that because sometimes bad, not bad thing, but like things will continuously happen, and God is trying to teach you a lesson, right? Or it's not for you, right? But
mm.
when you notice negative situations that keep happening, that's almost like a red flag for, hey, you got to change something because it's harming you. Like, and as bad as it is and as uncomfortable as it is, you have to move out of the way. You have to find, because like you said, victimhood is easy to hang on to. It's comfortable. Victimhood loves me. That's what I can relate to. You know what I mean? Like, that's who I am. I'm a victim. you know, and it's giving me the results I need because people are noticing me once I tell the story. You know, they're giving me sympathy, they're giving me,
Mhm.
and I don't, and that's what you over time, that's who you identify with, right? So that was me back in the day. Everything I'm telling you, I used to be. So that was me back in the day, right? So I went and going to a therapist, and this therapist told me I was bipolar. I was so insulted. I was like, I'm what? So I was like, I am not bipolar, and then I had this, this attitude about myself. And years later, I thought about it. I was like, dang, I literally, like, one moment I had, and I was like, I cured my paranoia. I cured my depression. I cured my anxiety, right? I cured a lot with no doctor, right? No pills. It took a change in here. It took a change in here. You know what I mean? Like that's and that's why, like, I feel some type of way about doctors, I mean, I believe that they're needed, but I also believe that sometimes just because a doctor says, you're this or you're that, that's what you must identify with until you die. You know,
No.
and I'm
No.
like I said, I'm against the grain type of person. So every time somebody tells me something, I always gotta go against the grain and be like, well, let me find out. And I got a curious mindset, right? So I'm always curious about stuff. So, but yeah.
Wow. Ayman wrote a comment there, and I think when I just asked the question, I'm still struggling with pain. I shed tears yesterday. I shed tears yesterday. Uh,
Aww.
yeah.
Man, that touches my soul. I swear, when I read stuff like that, because I know that pain and I know it's hard. I know pain is pain, and I wish there was like a fix all for everybody. Just one,
Mm.
you know, you know, but it's crazy because everybody's journeys are so different that one's healing, it won't be the next. Or you know what I mean? But it's having to me, the healing to pain is having that want to heal from pain.
Let's talk about the practices that at least that helped you heal or even continue to help you go through your healing journey.
Mm,
Um, you talked about meditation. You discovering meditation accidentally.
mm,
Um, I don't know. Is it meditation for you? Is it journaling? Is it prayer?
mm.
Is it movement? Because I noticed you also move a lot on your content. What are some of these daily practices that at least as Tina you intentionally? I like what you said about the television and how you don't want to program your mind with a lot of rewire. You're trying to rewire your brain at least
Mhm.
by focusing on you. And Cindy Sue Kunede here says that she hasn't watched television for the last 4 years. The last time
Wow.
the last time she stopped watching television was like during the COVID time for her own,
Mm,
just for her to stay sane and keep her sanity.
mm,
What are some of the like other practices that you normally do intentionally just to be able to
mm.
like go through that healing journey? Just for somebody who may be curious to know.
Um, be it outside in Mother Nature. That energy out there is healing. It's the grounding, walking barefoot, riding bikes. I like to ride my bike.
Oh, nice.
Kayaking. I love going kayaking in the summertime. Um, uh, reading. Taking time for yourself just to, like some weekends I'll take myself on a date and I'll go sit down and eat like I'm on a whole date. I'm trying to get dressed up, I do everything like I'm going on a whole day. That's
Nice.
but that's Tina treating Tina. Like I mean, it
Tina
sounds
Chicken.
silly. It sounds silly, but I do it. I'll do it. I go out on a date with myself. What else do I do? Oh, my eating patterns. I'm very mindful of what I put in. Like I won't eat meat now. I've been vegan now for like 6 years,
Wow.
and
Amazing.
that was divinely guided too because I didn't want to stop eating meat. Like I was going through this whole spiritual awakening, and I started getting real sick when I would eat meat. Like I felt like I would get nauseous. So I tested it out, right? I was like, okay, I'm gonna wait a couple days. I'm gonna eat another, a sandwich or something. It was some corned beef. And I got nauseous again. I did it a third time, same result. I said, I'm done.
Wow.
And ever since I quit eating meat, let me tell you, my energy has skyrocketed. Like it brought a certain clarity to me, to my energy body. Like I don't know how to explain it, but I know the number one thing I noticed was my energy shot up. Like now I'm a morning person. I get up and I can get out of bed and start doing something outside right away. You know what I mean? Like I just have high energy. Um Being mindful is just, I think it's like being aware or
Mm.
being outside. Like I encourage everybody to go outside. Like if you're not feeling good, go barefoot outside. Walk, put your feet in the in the grass or the dirt. It helps. It's real. It will clear out like that. Who was that you said was in pain? Somebody in the chat.
Yeah.
Ground yourself. Go outside. You know what I mean? It will help. It will help. And especially if you do it on a consistent basis. Because I believe grounding is like our, like that's Mother Nature's way of helping us. And the air that we breathe, the trees that we see. Like that's why I love Ohio, because here is so many trees here. I mean that air, this air got to be on point for real. This air got to be, because there is too many trees here, and I'm loving every one of them. Like I love my trees and my moon. Oh my goodness!
You
But
made it home for a reason.
yes, yes, I'm telling you, I'm glad I was left here because I love it here. I do. Um, but
I like.
mindful. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, no, I'm saying
Hmm.
I like these practices, and I was very
Hmm.
curious about your, that vegan.
Hmm.
6 years is a long time. Like, wow,
Hmm.
a long time.
Yeah, and
Uh,
then it was crazy. I didn't miss it once I stopped. It was like, how like people like, oh, you should be taking supplements because of protein, and you should,
yeah, I was, I was going to ask that. Like, do you get a lot of that, and how do you like, answer those questions and
Mhm.
stuff?
I won't take no pills because they say this is a protein pill. Just because they say it's a protein pill, don't mean it's a protein pill, right? And if I can't identify for sure what's in this pill or this shot or whatever, I'm not taking that. I'm not gonna. No, they're telling you it's protein because they're trying to sell it. You know what I mean? Like that's what I see it. They're telling you it's vitamins because they want to sell it to you. You know what I mean? And I know this is where I would like the way I live my life. I know that like we come with all we need. When we're born, we're born with the capabilities of healing ourselves. We're born with the capabilities of creating. We're born with the capabilities of uh manifestation. We're born with all this. Our bodies, but I know creator put everything we need up in here, we got the world says different. The world says you need vitamins, you need meat, you need, the world's gonna tell us, you know what I mean? But because I met a lady one time, she was like 85 years old, and she was on a bus stop, and she was coming to the homeless shelter just to eat dinner, and then she would go home. And she looked so good, and me and her got to talking because I love my elders, like I love them, and so I'll take the time to have a great conversation with them.
Yeah.
And she was like, I don't take no pills. She's like, I haven't taken pills in 5 years. She said, I can walk, I can run, I got mental clarity. She said, I do what I want to do. And she was like, but prior to that, I was taking the pills that they would give me. And she said there was the side effects like were really bad on her. And I'm not saying everybody's like this, but I believe like I don't want to take no pills. I don't. Like, if I gotta, and again, I'm not saying all pills are, because some people need pills to get through their day, and whatever the case. I'm not judging nobody. It's just my truth. The way I see it. But I believe like there are avenues in which we can tap into in our bodies that can heal us, that can guide us, that can talk to us. That can um show us what we need to see. It's all here. It's all here. Just you gotta take the time to find it.
Tina, you have also been very clear about your relationship with social media. We live in a world where there's an urge to document everything that we do. I like the example you gave about go out in nature. I almost I almost added there, and leave your phone at home, for Christ's sake. And leave your phone at home, because
Mm.
the moment your phone gets starts recording, it becomes content. It is not you seeking the grounding from Mother Nature.
Mhm.
Um, and that is going to help me transition into now your YouTube story. You
Mhm.
decided, and I know you are doing, and I can tell even for YouTube, you have been very intentional. You are not like all in. You getting
Mhm.
just a bit of what you can. What
Mhm.
was that soul calling that said, I need to share Tina Marie on YouTube? Like
Oh.
what? Yeah, like what was that
Mhm.
moment? Like why? Like what triggered? Because you're one person, you've
Mhm.
not been on social media, your life has generally been private and stuff. But
Mhm.
now you said, let me start something, create channel. And then I like how you post things when you feel like it. Um, so it's not like you're also giving yourself so much pressure on it, because clearly you understand,
Mhm.
you're being very deliberate also about curating that space. But talk to us
Mhm.
about that calling that said, let me share this.
I was like, okay, so YouTube to me was like, I started seeing like a lot of people motivating other people, right? Like the
Mm.
shorts were like, you can do this, you're good, don't judge yourself too harshly, don't do this, don't do that, And I was like, wow, like that's power, because there was a day where I wasn't feeling my best, right? I was just kind of down, low energy, and somebody's short I saw, and and I felt myself feel different. Like I felt, better after hearing that. And I'm like, dang, that has power in it. That's but I was still dragging my feet, you know what I mean, on that. I was still like, should I do it? Should I not do it? You know what I mean? Should I put the video out there? Because there was a time where I was addicted to Facebook, um, any social media. I mean, I would go to bed, wake up, phone in face, phone in face, phone in face, and I'm telling you, I refuse to ever get back to that level because I was terrible. I was ridiculous. You know what I mean? I'm posting stuff on there like that was just ridiculous, just to get a like. You know what I mean? Because when it's like what they say, the phone is no different than somebody taking a drug. You get that hit of dopamine like that drug addict did. Once you
Yeah.
see all them likes, you know what I mean? Your brain is doing something. So I was like, well, okay, YouTube has always been relevant in my life because of the information, that you can pull.
Yeah.
But it was just like that one video I seen that was like, wow, she just really inspired me. And then I was dragging my feet, and then I ended up finding like a community on YouTube, like, and so now I'm like surrounded on YouTube by like good people that inspire me, that cheer me on, that they truly want the best, and they were always like, make some videos,
Yeah.
and like what you say earlier, you said something like sometimes the universe will talk to you through somebody. You'll get a message through a person. And so I'm like, dang, I wonder, yeah, I was thinking about it. I was like, dang, I wonder if that's the universe. Like, stop dragging your feet, girl. Get it together, Tina. Because there was too many people encouraging me. So I was like, I just want to do that to make an impact on hopefully somebody's, world, somebody's life. And that's all I want to do. Like even today, like every day I wake up, I just, my intentions. I'm like, shit. I just want to spread love and light. I want to receive love and light in my day, every day. Wake up excited about your day. I don't know what's gonna happen, but I bet you I'm excited. I'm ready. I'm ready. Let's go. So.
I know, and I like that, because you said something very deep there, that I
Mhm.
found my people. I found a community, like-minded people that
Yes.
understand the journey, and that goes a long way in terms
Mm,
of the conversation around
mm,
support, and for you,
mm,
connections. When I was going through your channel, connections are very important for you, because you have been very clear. You want to be there for others as you'd like others to be
mhm,
there for you. And sometimes
mhm,
this platform is where you find that community.
mhm,
um what does support look like, to you? Because knowing what you know now, and you want to freely share your experience, and the lessons, and maybe the pain, even the not very fancy parts.
Mm,
What does true support look like to you, and why is it important for you
mm,
to support people through the connections?
mm. Support to me is like to me support is encouraging somebody to do better, to be better than what they are,
Mm,
and a lot of people aren't transparent like that, so you don't know what it is that they need or who they, what they're trying to do. But support can be just me listening to you while you talk. Support can be, you know, me giving you some feedback, and in the most, with the intention to help.
mm,
Support can mean, oh wow, having a conversation that, like you said, with like-minded people to where that connection hits, right? Like, oh, we have something in common, right? Even if nine things don't go in common, we got one thing. I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for this conversation. I'm glad you're listening, to me. Because in real life, in my life, if I get to talking like this in real life, people look at me like I got three heads. So I try not to, you know, nobody I know in real life understands me, So it's like, okay, so so it's like a lot of times I gotta pick and choose my battles. Like, do I really want to push this? Or should I just let it go?
yeah.
Because I know they're not gonna understand me. But the support can mean so much. It's support can mean you know showing up for somebody. Support can mean me checking on you. Hey, how you doing today? How you feeling? You feeling good? Not how you doing, but how you feeling today? That's supporting somebody. Supporting could be, man, to me supporting is yeah, you want to encourage their movement to be better, but supporting is more like you're honing in to make them feel confident, to feel
Mm,
good, to know they're needed, to know they're heard, and the intention for them to do better and be better and to grow in their life.
mm. And the reason I'm asking this because that becomes an immediate theme and something that you have to contend with as a creator, especially in this particular platform. When people come across you on this YouTube space or your channel,
Mm,
what is that one thing you always hope they walk away with? Because sometimes
mm.
listening to sometimes I listen to your shorts and I'm like, somebody needed to hear that. Maybe I needed to hear that.
Right.
What do you normally hope that when people come across your content, even if it's like in form of a short, even if it's
Mhm.
in form of you just like rambling about something, when you're exercising or you're walking or something like that, what do you
Yeah,
hope they want?
I hope that they walk away with a feeling of, you know, to or inspiration, you know what I mean? Some type of, I hope that they grab, even if it's just a word out of that short, that word, I hope they walked away and like maybe that word did something for them positively in their life, or maybe it brought some type of awareness to them, or um because the comments I get on my shorts, like this all love. Like I can't I like the I mean, I appreciate the people that come. Like there's a few people in there like I needed to hear that today. You know what I mean? And it just touches my soul. I mean, I will start screaming thank you in real life, for real, when I read those, because it's like, dang, that's what I need. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to encourage somebody.
Mm,
Um, you know, or build confidence that's already there. They may not need nothing. They just, hey, that was a nice confidence booster. You know, um, that's all I wanted to do. I want to be encouraging in this life. I want to, and that's why I'm on YouTube. I support everybody. I get on people's stuff I don't even know, but I always
I've
leave a
seen,
comment. I do.
I've
I get
seen,
on people.
I've seen it sometimes. I'm like, what is Tina doing here? I'm like, like I've seen you in places. I've seen you in places, and you really. Um, was it scary, like to open up online? Because sometimes being online and building a community means sometimes you have to be vulnerable enough to share with them your story. you've been fighting private battles, you've been doing a lot of inner work, you've been doing a lot of trauma healing and things like that.
Mhm.
Was it scary for you? Like, because one of the problems in these online platforms sometimes is people, and I always try to tell people in the community that people always have a story. There's what they may want you to know, and there's what you don't know. You don't know the silent battles maybe they are grappling with.
Mhm.
For you, was it scary just opening up to to people online, especially after living a very private life and going through these private battles and wars and fights and
It
trauma?
used to be. It used to
Yeah.
be. Like I would be like hiding. Like I'm not telling nobody where I came from. I'm not telling nobody what I did, what happened to me. But it's like I hit a threshold or something, and it was like I'm gonna be transparent. I you know, like I wanted to tell people what happened to me. I wanted to get the word out there. I want because it was like as long as I had that shame or
Yeah.
guilt or there's a negative feeling to something I had because I would never speak on it. I always wanted to hide it, right? Or like a lot of us, we look at other people like their perspective of us is that's what hinders us is your perspective of me. So I can't talk about what I've been through because I don't want you to look at me funny. When in
Mm.
reality, that's gonna happen, but that's not your problem. And if that person judges you and leaves you alone, then it wasn't meant for you no way. So I got to a point
Ah.
where I'm out here. I'm out here. Anybody want to know nothing, anything? I tell you. Yep, I've been through it. Yep, I was an addict. I was homeless. I was addicted. I did all that. Yep, I sure did. But I grew from that. You know what I mean? That was were lessons. So it's like I think I hit a threshold where I just wanted to share that experience, because we are all in our own journeys, right? We're all experiencing this life differently. But I think the relativity in each one of our journeys is what builds those connections, is what somebody else might need. Because I know when I was in certain situations, maybe I can give that person that's in that same situation today some encouragement, or maybe I can do something to help them along their
Yeah.
path. You know what I mean? I just, you know, and that's what the experience is for, is to share those good points in it and to always reach back and grab a hand to pull up.
What's been the most surprising thing from your audience? Like what did you not see coming? Because like, look at us doing a collaboration on YouTube.
Mhm.
You are seated in Ohio, I'm seated in Kenya. We are talking. We've been talking for, oh my goodness, almost 3 hours right now. Time flies as the Sunday
Ah!
service. Almost three
Mhm.
hours, and I think we're only going to be here for 2 hours. But look at that. Like, something is going on here.
Oh,
Um,
definitely.
yeah, what has been the most surprising thing you've received from the audience, just based on the community, the interactions,
Hmm. I think it was. I think the biggest thing I got from it, because I didn't expect it, was like the meeting of people and having the encouragement, and like having the people there that even if their belief system is different from mine, like there's like an unspoken love there, right?
yeah,
That
that
Tina,
is
you
it.
okay?
That
Yeah,
is it.
like that
That's it.
was yes, because I didn't expect that. You know what I mean? So when I got the people that I deal with on YouTube now, and I'm like, wow, that's like I would never have guessed that coming from an app. You know what I mean? To meet that many good people, with their intentions are just that peace.
I
It's
love
like that was the most surprising.
I love that. That is always I would that is always the most surprising thing about this platform, because people don't know you, they don't owe you anything, but they just unconditionally support you, and they send the love,
Mm.
and the energy is just something else. I love
Yes.
that's deep. That's like a deep.
Hmm. Yes, but I'm so grateful for it. Let me tell you, I'm always grateful and thankful for it, because man, it does. It makes an impact in my life. It does.
Impact it is. Guys, if you have any question you want to ask Tina, this is the point I can now ask you to intentionally do it. I was not even looking at the time. That's how Tina is so captivating just listening to her story. You don't even realize how time is flying
Mhm.
like crazy. So feel free to drop your questions on the chat. It can be comments. it can be anything. It can be a part of a story that resonated with you, and maybe you just want to like send that, you want to send that heart, that love. And in case you are just you've just come to my live stream, and you're wondering who the person is on the panel, that is my Sunday service co-host Tina Marie. The link is pinned up on top of my chat. We are also multi-streaming, so the live stream is also happening on her channel. So when you click on that link, it will throw you over to her channel, and you will find amazing people there. Everybody is already there anyway. Pekamo will welcome you very nicely. Drop some nice black hearts there. Black is a favorite color. Drop some nice black hearts there, and then I will know that you've arrived there, and you can be part of this beautiful, beautiful woman's community. In case you haven't already connected to her. If you have any question you want to drop on the chat, we are getting to the part of the Sunday service where we start cooling down, asking the final bits of the question. So in case you have any question you want to ask Tina, feel free to drop it on the chat, and I'll be able to like put it on the screen, so that at least she can be able to like respond to it. I'm getting just into my final questions, Tina, and it's really been captivating speaking to you, just listening to your story, and
Thank you.
and you built like a whole, it was very nice to see the entire like frame from where it started to where you are. I have a curious part, and I think this was also very important for you when you were having the preparation call for the Sunday service, and that is forgiveness. Forgiveness does not
Yes.
come easy to most people, because again, forgiveness, like pain, sometimes me holding resentment, it's almost like I want to hold on to that power that, if you don't ask me, I'm the one to forgive you, so I'm not going to forgive you, so that I can keep it. But one of the things that is very important also in your story is the power of forgiveness. You have to forgive your past. You have to forgive, and I like how you said, Goga, I had to put myself in the shoes of my parents. I had to put myself in the shoes of my ex-husband. I had to put myself in the shoes of everybody that I interacted with, and that formed a part of my past. Tina, that is not easy stuff.
No, no, no.
Human beings, and I remember when I was going through my when I was going through my spiritual journey as well, and I remember, and so for me, I had to like go live in Asia, like with the monks, and at some point they gave me an assignment, and the human ego is something very interesting.
Oh,
You
is
know,
it?
like
Oh, I know.
this. The human ego. Just that thought of imagining that I'm going to put myself in the. I'm like, yeah. Have you seen me? And sometimes it takes like it takes a lot of work also, just to like step out of yourself, and let me put myself in David Hand's shoes. Let me put myself in Irish Jimmy's shoes. These are guys on the chat. Let me put myself in Simone TV's shoes. Let me put myself in, it can be, let me put myself in Bad File's shoes, and try to just like reason what was their frame of mind when they were making this decision. And that is part of you trying to find a way to forgive, because maybe if I seek to understand,
Right.
maybe if I just seek to understand just a little bit.
Right. And
I
that's
do.
what I was doing. Like I think on personal levels, like like that's my family, right? So I can put myself in their shoes because I know them.
Absolutely.
Right. But then you got that pain out here where like I really don't know you. And you like, I don't know, you're talking crazy to me, or let's say I'm at the store and somebody stole something from me, right? I
Yeah.
can't put myself in their shoes because I don't know them. You know what I mean? So I have to, in my mind, I have to look at it like I said, you meet people where they're at. I'm big on that. Meet people where they're at. They've been through some things to get like this. They to be that comfortable stealing from somebody, right? I just
Mhm.
send him love and light, right? Because I'm not picking that up. I'm not gonna match that energy because once I pick up them bad thoughts and I'm like in my head, I can't, you're saying all this stuff, or even if you say it out loud or you attack that person or you get belligerent, right? In that moment, now all that energy you're creating must come
Yeah.
back to you. right? So in order for me to walk in peace in my being, in my mind, as somebody steals something from me, right? I don't have to I don't have to put myself on the chopping block for that. That's gonna be something you gotta deal with. You know, and I always go back to that saying on the cross when Jesus was on the cross and he was like, Father, forgive them for they not know what they do. Because what they're doing to him, they're doing to themselves. Right. And then what you're doing to yourselves is creating that energy on the earth that then spreads to millions more. You know what I mean? But they didn't know that, and I didn't know it for a long time either. I didn't know, because I had such an attitude back in the day. I was
Yeah.
terrible. Oh, I was a
Yeah.
terrible. But it's like that. It's like you have to be aware, and it's like that's what they call self-love, right? To me, it's
Mm.
like part of self-love, because self-love is like, okay, do I keep my peace, or am I going to allow you to pull me out of my body? Which one's more important? Because I can act a fool too, right? But I'm not acting a fool. I'm gonna be over here. I'm gonna stand over here. That's me choosing self-love. That's me. I love me more than what you just did.
Mm. Oh, wow. There's a beautiful question here on the chat, and I think that's going to be our first question.
Okay.
Okay, you guys, can you focus? There are people cracking jokes on the chat. This is what I have to deal with, Tina, on a day-to-day basis. Streets. I asked a question and then look at David. I tried to put myself in Goga's shoes, but I could not fit the pants. My waist was too big. Focus, and even Jimmy talking about his, shoes and stuff. Guys, focus. Like Goga, my shoes are a size 13 US, so they would look like clown shoes on you. Jimmy and David, I will kick you out. I will kick you out of the chat. I will kick you out of. Can you focus? Focus. Can you focus? All right. So anyway, now a serious question from Pekamo. Pekamo is asking, okay, Tina, I see you are so intentional, and that's fascinating. What is that next milestone you look forward to reaching, if you don't mind sharing? Ooh,
That's deep.
that's deep.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
And if
wait.
and if you mind sharing, it's okay. You could just say I mind sharing, and then we move on.
Oh, wow.
Okay, no,
I don't
knowing
know.
me, I know you're going to share anyway.
Yeah, me. I'm gonna be transparent for real. That ain't nothing I won't say. But I don't know. I think it's like I want to move into a like my next goal in this life. I want to move into a because right now I work, but I'm not working in my field. If that
Mm,
makes sense. So, but my goal is to work in the homeless shelters or rehabs, or um to do something, or work with the elderly, something that is fulfilling for me. You know what I mean? Something that I can put into and get out of, besides a check. Like, and I mean, because this journey that we're on, to me, it never ends. There's no plateau. We don't plateau on this, evolution. We're never gonna stop. It's always gonna keep going. So, and I want to be like, because I can recognize in people now when they don't say what they're feeling. You know what I mean? Like, I can see it in people. I can tell when somebody's going through something and they're not talking, or they just be like, yeah, I'm good. You could see it. It's written all over their face, right? It's written in their actions, and it's written in, and I'm the type of person, I'm gonna pry. Like, hey, how you doing today? You all right? It could be a complete stranger. How you doing today? You doing all right? Let me want you to hear about my day. Let me tell you about my day. Because once you start talking, that'll relax them enough to, you know what I mean? And so, like, you gotta get out there and do that, and then to do that intentionally, like in a facility like that where people, you know, homelessness, addiction, what do you call them homes? Not retirement homes. What them homes called when you old age home?
yeah.
To go in there, and show up and be able to make somebody feel good or help them through a situation they're going through, and like the rehabs and homeless shelters. I've been there. I know what I needed. And now I know what I needed. You know what I mean? So I know how to be what is now needed.
Wow. Pekamo, I hope you got your answer. And Mr. Mulato is like dropping hugs and stuff. And guys,
Aw, Ryan's
guys,
still
please,
here.
Yeah, if you've been with us here
Mm,
we started this live stream 2 hours 55 minutes ago. If you've been with us like this long, please drop some nice hearts there over at
mm.
Tina's. Please drop those nice hearts, those nice black hearts over at Tina's chat. Then I can see that you guys are there, and at least just to give an idea who has been listening, because I know she has been very busy.
I'm
You know, yeah, talking to me so that she does not focus on the chat, otherwise she'll be very distracted, and that was very deliberate. But you guys have come through in such a nice way. Nobody has felt ignored. Pekamo has done an amazing job, Tina, on your chat.
Thank you,
Um,
Pacamo.
yeah. So in case you're there on the chat, drop some nice hearts so that at least I can give an idea who is there listening, and just for her to have a sense. Tina,
Yes.
Did you ever go back to Wisconsin from Ohio? Like, did you ever go back?
Hmm.
Because I know you found a home in Ohio, and that is
Hmm.
where like a lot of changes in your life happened.
Hmm.
But did you ever take that bus home that you're supposed to take? Did you ever get a car back to Wisconsin? Did you ever take
Hmm.
that drive?
Yeah, I took that drive. Um,
How was
I
it,
took
especially because
woo that first time back. Oh my! Oh
so
wow!
did you say you were away for 5 years? If I got it right.
5. Yeah, yeah, 5 years. So a lot of my family thought I died. They were like, because they
Oh
didn't
my
hear
God.
nothing, and I wasn't on social media or nothing.
Wow.
So everybody, like, some of them thought I was dead. But I went home, and the first time I went home, and I got to see my kids, right, and then I got to see their kids, and I mean, it was the number one thing they kept telling me though was like, "You're different." They kept saying like, "You're different."
Hmm.
They noticed, because when I left, I was like, like I said, I was judgmental. I was angry. I was, I just wasn't and even when I didn't say it, I would have that stink face on, like not even talking, but I just had that ugly face on. So when I came back, that was the first thing that they noticed. They were like, "Dang, you're different. You're different."
You are
And
different.
me and my younger sister, right? We had stopped talking for years. I mean, a long time. And then when I came back, I had a conversation with her, and she was like, "Tina, I'm so grateful that we're sisters again. And I'm glad that, that we can get past what we went past, because there was a lot of time lost there." And then a year later, she died. But I'm grateful that we found, we
Closure.
were able, yeah, yeah, yeah. So I was happy for that. So yeah, it was
Wow.
different though, because walking back into that same environment that broke me, because before I left, I was broken. So when I walked back into that same environment different, I was like, wow. Like it was just so eye-opening. I mean, and I was, that really impacted me though, that I would never come back here and live.
Wow.
Like I'm good over here.
What about mom?
Um, well, see, I seen mom at my sister's funeral, and
Okay.
prior to that, I hadn't seen her for 22 years. So she
Oof.
showed up at my sister's funeral, and then after the funeral, while we were there, we exchanged numbers, and she texted me a couple times, and that was it. Nothing.
Wow.
And then if I text her or call her, right, she'll answer it, and then if I don't, she never reaches out.
Wow. I'm trying to figure out like you isolated yourself for 5 years to work on yourself. And, that in any way could not have been easy at all. And when did you know you are ready to go to that environment that broke you? Like you always know, like sometimes it's very easy to stay away from it, but I think it takes a certain level of healing to know that you're
It.
ready to go and face the place that broke you. You know, it's
Mhm.
it's a lot of work that has gone there into for you to go and face those kind. It can be the environment, it can be even some of the locations, some of the
Mhm.
streets you had to like you had to like deal with when you were younger. Um,
Mhm.
like how did you know that it is time? It is time. Okay, let me go back. Or was it like a situation that forced you to go? Or
No. Nope, it was just a choice one day. One day I was like, my dad was on my mind real heavy. Now, because I hadn't talked to him in 5 years. So I'm like, dang, I wonder how he's doing. And it was like a non-stop nagging thing in my head. Like, call your dad, call
mm,
your dad, So I called my dad and I was like talking to him on the phone, and he was starting to get ill at this point, and I don't know. I think maybe that's why I was getting that question in my head because it was the beginning of his end. So I called him, talked to him, and then, I felt confident enough to call my kids, talk to them, talk to their kids, on the phone. And then I went back there, and like you said, it took that because I was confident and I felt good at that point. I felt because that's what healing feels like. You feel confident, you feel good, you feel optimistic,
Yeah.
you look
Yeah.
for the good in life. Like me going back there, nothing bad was gonna happen. And I had never it was an 8-hour drive from here to there. I had never taken a road trip alone because I was always scared. I'm like, I don't want to be on the road by myself. I don't want to be taking it. And I was like, no, I'm gonna do it because everything's gonna be all right. And I kept telling myself that. And I'm telling you, when I got off the freeway from in Wisconsin 8 hours later, I'm telling you, I was in that car smiling. I was so happy. I was like, I did it. Like I did that. That was a challenge.
Wow. That's
Cause I'm
beautiful.
always, yeah, because I'm always self-challenging myself. Like if there's something that, let me see. So, okay, like I said, the thought process when you're thinking a thought, right? Okay, I'm gonna think the opposite. Let me see what happens, right? Or a way of life, like if you're doing something, like I'm always challenging self. Self is my biggest challenge.
Mm.
Like forming a
Yep.
new habit, because forming habits are hard. Oh my God, to be consistent. Like, oh, I'm
Tell me
telling you,
about
because I be trying to exercise in the morning time before work. Oh, let me tell you. Mm-mm. I be like, I'm glad can't nobody see me.
it. I feel like you're calling me out because that is the battle I've been going through for the last 2 months. I have to like show up in the morning.
Yes. I was like, I'm glad can't nobody see me.
Oh,
But
God.
yeah, it's always like trying to do, just challenge self, to,
Yeah.
to be better or change thoughts or change energy or change perspectives or, the force of trying to understand somebody you don't know.
Nice.
That's a challenge. Hmm.
You talk about your kids and you talk about your grandkids as well. Uh,
Hmm.
I'm just surprised you're a grandma because, I could not imagine that you're a grandma. You're looking
Mm.
amazing. You look so good. I could
Oh,
not even
thank
imagine.
you.
Yeah. Um, how are you intentionally, like based on your experience, the sum total of the experiences that you've gone through as an individual, how are you being intentional that at least your kids and, for lack of a better word, at least that generational kind of thing, breaking that generation kind of cycle of like abandoning people, those kind of things.
Mm.
And how are you trying to be very intentional in terms of your relationships with your kids, and
Mm.
that at least you don't have to be in the same place as where you are with mom, for example.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, um, I do try to speak to my kids. I talk to them on the phone because I'm not present in person.
Mm.
I try to, even raising them, like I always try to raise them, like, with empathy and compassion and, let them know that somebody's always here for you, and, you know, the cycles of our generation, like my lineage on, like even on my mom's side, my dad's side, right? But see, remember they're adopted, so they have a whole set of parents that abandoned them already, right?
Yeah.
So when I got my first set of kids was 6 and 7, no, 5 and 6 when I first adopted them. My second set was, I think, 7 and 8, right? So they had been through a lot at that point, with their moms and whatever they were exposed to. So even today they struggle, and I see the cycles. I see cycles repeating themselves, and I see, you know, the what they've been through and how it's affecting their choices today, and
Mm.
how the unawareness is there, and like my daughter, my oldest daughter, she has 3 boys and a girl,
Oh, wow.
and her she needs, she's struggling right now, like on many levels, like confidently wise, mental, addiction. She's struggling. She's trying to get through it, and I'm not there physically, you know what I mean? But I try to be there for, to speak to her and try to guide her on the right path and try to, tell her things.
Mm.
And, or when I talk to my grandkids, I let them know, like, I try to let them know that because she has one son and he already is like, he's different. Like you can see it. He's already aware. He's already woke. He knows, he's like that person that goes against the grain, questions
Mm.
everything. He's already like, he's very introverted, very quiet. He's like, one day he just picked up a pencil and started drawing like an artist that was studying. Like, I'm like, boy, where'd you learn that from? He's like, I don't know, I just did it right now. Like, he's so intelligent and quiet, and so I always try to talk to her kids and let them know, like, everything's gonna be all right, and I'm here. If you
Mm.
ever need me, you call me. You know what I mean? I don't care if I'm in another state or not. You know what I mean? I can get to you.
Love
But
that.
I try to, or my hope, because I used to ask that, like, how they say one person can change a generation. I didn't ever understand that. I'm like, how? Like, I'm changed. I came out of it, but my family's still in it. How am I
Mm.
helping?
How am I helping? And that's a
As
that's a very good reflection in terms of legacy.
Yeah, because I'm like, how am I helping? Even though I'm over here by myself, and they say, like, if one heals, it can heal a generation, but I believe that that is through, like, energy. It's through the energy of that person healing, because I'm connected to that. We all have the same blood. You know what I mean? That what I do will affect them. It will either help them or hinder them, right? But it's, again, it's that unseen world that we can't touch. And all I can do is, on a physical level, is just, hey, check on them, talk to them, see how they doing, what you need. You know what I mean? If there's something, if I can, I will help.
Mm.
But being that example, I think that's because all the grandkids know I'm out here by myself, right? They know, like, well, no, none of my family's there. They know, but I think maybe that is the healing. Maybe that is the example, like, seeing it.
Final questions and final thoughts on this.
Mhm.
5 years from now, and I'm speaking hypothetically, for example, if your
Okay.
channel, yeah, so if in 5 years your channel maybe has helped just one person feel seen, and empowered enough to change their life, find their healing, and also find their inner compass, as we called it,
Mhm.
will that be enough for you? Or, because one of the things when it comes to self-care, wellness, inner work, or self-inquiry, how do you define its success? Because it has to be separate. It cannot be measured the same way we measure views and subscribers and things like that. Um,
Mhm.
what will success look like for you, in case this channel grows, and in 5 years, what will that look like, for Tina, from where
Oh,
you sit?
wow.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I would think, like, to me, I would want communities, you know what I mean? I would want community, I would want to build communities on my station, on my YouTube channel,
Mm.
for people to come and talk. It ain't gotta be bad. You be having a good day. Come and tell me about your good day. You know what I mean? That would be like, it would be the power of connection, just get, because I tell people all the time, get it out. I don't care what you got to talk, get it out of you. Talk to somebody, just get it out. And I think that would be one of the ways that I would want my YouTube channel to grow, is to have
Mm.
communities, kind of like what you're doing. You know how you do this, not, but not like this. You know what I mean? Like, I would maybe do something a little bit different, but maybe some of, because you get what you're doing right now is you're healing me. You are getting what's inside of me out of me. You're giving me a platform, and you're making it okay, and you're allowing me to speak my mind. And that is monumental to me. That is amazing. That is, I mean, and it's like, there's, that help, when people have something to talk about and they succeeded in something, that helps so many people, in the world. And that's what I want my channel to be. I want it to be um a channel where people know it's okay. You can come here with anything, and talk and be a part of this, kind of like, because that's what I found on YouTube. Like, that's my community. Like, the people I rock with on YouTube, like, there's a lot of people on, like, uh Picamo. He's one that will, he will listen. He's a good supporter, you know what I mean? The connections. I got Ryan, you know what I mean? Ryan is, and those, and so many more. And I'm not saying those names, but so many more. But those are people to where, like, you can just go and say anything you're going through, and they're gonna give you a kind word or a nudge of, you're gonna be all right. And that's what I want my channel to be.
I love that, and we do need a lot of spaces where people can hold space for others and extend that
Mm.
particular grace, to other people. Let me say that there's anything I may have missed on the chat. Oh, Jimmy was asking a question, and I think it has been answered. Jimmy was
Okay.
like, "Hey, do you have any connections to the American Indian culture, as in the bloodline?" Oh, she already answered this. Yes, she's a
Hmm.
native. She's Native American. And then Pekamos says, "Tina, your healing is worth celebrating, and I celebrate. I
Mm.
celebrate it with you. I would want to ask, in this new lease of life you've created for yourself, do you think you need love? I mean, hmm."
Mm.
I feel I saw Pekamo is asking, in this new lease of life you've created, do you think you need love?
No, I think love is a necessity. I think love is given. Like, okay, my body, my being is love, right?
Yeah.
So, because we know that term, I'm in love with you, right? When two people come together, right? Like, there's two people together, what they're doing is they're sharing. I'm giving you love and you're giving it back. I'm giving you love and you're giving it back. I'm giving you love. Only time it becomes a problem is when one ain't giving what he's supposed to give, or she's not giving what she's supposed to give. Then it's like, that's where the problem lies, right? And because love is energy, love is action, love is compassion, love is all this stuff, right? Love is not just love, right? Love is
Mm.
character, love is mindset. Like, it's a big umbrella. So I need love just like anybody else needs love, and I'm putting it out there. Believe me, I'm trying. Hey, every day, that's my goal. Yes, but I think everybody needs love. I think everybody does.
I do love that.
Hmm.
Guys, I mean, we could be here with Tina forever, but I think it's been 3 hours, and I promised only to keep her for 2 hours, and she's given me an extra hour of her time. I don't take it for granted, especially being a Sunday. And I hope this story was worth it, because I know Tina, people have been waiting for you for like we've been planning this for a minute with you. Um,
Hmm.
people have been kind of waiting. They're like, I can't wait to hear Tina. I can't wait to hear Tina's story. I can't wait.
Oh.
So there's been a lot of, anytime I go there, Goga, the Sunday service guest for the last Sunday service guest for the month. I'm really looking forward to her story, because I've had bits of it, but it would be nice to just hear her at the Sunday service. And to be honest, it was really just I don't know, this conversation. You say that this conversation is healing you. I think this conversation healed us. We needed that healing. We needed that inspiration. We needed that affirmation, because, and I like how you told the story. You told it from a place of, I don't know, you told it from a place of power, that if somebody was beating themselves in a sense, at least they look at themselves and their life in a whole different light, and you
Mhm.
can be a victor. You deserve good things. I am enough,
Right.
endless. I am powerful. I am,
Mhm.
I am, I'm an achiever. I am going for
Mhm.
what I want. And I think I love how you brought that out, especially, when you're talking about the conversations. I
Thank
don't want
you.
to, I don't want to keep you here longer. What I'm going to do now at the last bit of this is, normally we give you like, it's normally 2 to 5 minutes. It depends on how you're going to use it. I'm going to put
Mm.
on solo layout so that you can now do your outro. So your outro is just you like wrapping up the conversation in terms of like, you can just like say the last words that you want to say to the people, and then as soon as you're done,
Mhm.
I will be able to like end your live stream, and then I'll be able to release you because I know yes,
Okay.
yeah,
The
unless
outro. Hmm.
yeah, the outro, yeah. So you can take your time. I can
Gotcha.
let me see what people are saying. Guys are excited about guys. I know you want to drop compliments to Tina.
Hmm.
Yes, drop them on her chat to confirm that you're connected to her before she does the outro. Because once she does the outro and the live stream ends, you'll not be able to like at least type it there on her chat. And then what I'm going to request, I'm going to like request those of you are like over at Tina's. The moment I end her live stream, you can take an Uber back here. You can take an Uber back here for the affirmation because we have to read the affirmation before we leave. So take an Uber back because she's still working on her 1,000 subscribers. So you can take an Uber back to my channel, and then we can do like the affirmation. Maybe I make one announcement, and then I can release you guys on a read. I will ask one of my moderators to type Tina and Goga read black and purple hearts somewhere in there so that we can go surprise somebody on these YouTube streets who may be feeling alone through our raid. Right. So without further ado, Tina, allow me to say thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for your story. I wish I could keep you here longer, but you do you
Me
you're
too.
you're always welcome to the Sunday service. By the way, in case you one day you wake up and the spirit is telling you, Goga, can you do another collaboration? Let me know. I will make it happen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Once a Sunday service co-host, forever a Sunday service co-host. If you wake up one day and you think we should do like another collaboration, let me know
Mhm.
and then I will make it happen. But I also
Okay.
want, but I also want to say thank you so much for also being. Thank you for taking a chance on me. You've never done a
Mm.
live stream, and we've been having calls, and I like how
Mhm.
you've always been very quick to grasp those things, and you're like, okay, what do I do next? I've not even told you something; you've already done it, and it's been very nice seeing you in that process. And I'm so glad
Mm.
that at least when the history of your YouTube channel is written, the first live stream you ever did was a collaboration with Goga and the community, and
Yes.
I'm so happy that now that is going to be part of your channel. And for me, that is my small gift and time that I said,
Oh,
if you're going
thank
to be
you.
hanging out with me here for 3 hours, we might as well document it for posterity and history. And that is good because in
Mhm.
case you ever decide to repurpose your live stream into a video, it is now your
Okay.
content and you can break it down into what you want it to be. But thank you so
Oh,
much. Thank you so much for your time.
thank
I don't take
you.
it for granted.
Thank
Pekamo is saying,
you.
Goga, you are excellent at what you do.
Mhm.
Your world is fortunate to have you. Oh, thank you so much for that. I
Aw.
appreciate that.
He's so
And then,
sweet. Oh,
yeah, he is.
mm.
And then
He's a great guy.
Simone says, you are a beautiful, brave soul, Tina. You are born for a special purpose. And then
Oh,
she puts
Simone.
and then she
Thank
puts all these
you.
nice black hats that you love there, there,
Mhm.
there, there, there. And then Ayman, my
Thank.
brother Ayman says, peace,
Mm.
love, and light, Tina,
Mm.
connected. Connect.
Yeah.
Ayman has been
Thank
hanging out
you.
in my chat, but he said, I'm just going to jump over at Tina's to like do this. Okay. Thank you so much. And everybody is
Mm.
like just dropping some love, comments, everything.
Mhm.
Guys,
Oh, thank you guys.
drop,
Thank you. Thank
drop them
you.
over at Tina's chat because I know she's going to replay this thing tomorrow so that she can see, she can catch up on your chats for her to hang out with the.
Mhm.
And then Mr. Mulato says, and Mr. Mulato was the first person I think we saw on the
Yes,
chats.
he was, Ryan. Yes.
Mr. Mulato says, Tina, that's my sis for real. Mad respect,
Uh,
Tina. Mad
oh,
respect, Tina.
thank you, Ryan.
Yeah, I love
Mm.
that. I love that. I love that.
Yes.
I love that. So,
Mhm.
guys, anyway, you guys, you seem to you want to make
Mm.
Tina smile a bit. So you can drop those compliments
Mm.
before she does the outro because I know she's thinking
Mhm.
or she's thinking she's thinking
Ah,
about.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Tell her those good things. Can you affirm her? Can
Mm.
you affirm her? It's very nice. Um, Tina, you also look extremely beautiful. Skincare
Oh,
routine for the ladies. The ladies are asking, what's the skincare routine other than being vegan and drinking a lot
literally
of water?
moisturizer. Moisture. I use Vaseline. That's it. I don't put none of them others, products or nothing. Just Vaseline. Like nighttime, put Vaseline. Wake up. Wash it off. But Vaseline is, I mean, I use for lotion, everything, because it moisturizes. For
Really?
me, yeah. None of that artificial, or fragrance stuff, because that fragrance stuff, I don't use that, but that's it.
Okay, ladies, you're welcome. I asked the question because somebody said, Google, you better ask Tina her skincare routine because
Oh, thank
somebody
you.
told me, you better ask Tina her skincare routine, Google, because I want to know. I want to know how she looks that stunning.
Oh,
Um,
thank
right.
you.
And then, yes, you see, Simone is like shocked. She just said Vaseline, yeah. And drinking
Hmm.
water,
Oh,
drinking
yeah.
lot,
Well,
lot,
yeah.
drinking lots of water as well.
Mhm.
Hmm, good. Yeah, and maybe it's just genes, guys. Sometimes, yeah, sometimes just she just has good genes, like sometimes it's just what it is.
Thank you, Gaga.
It's just what it is. Tina, before you go, first of
Mhm.
all, I'm going to just out of respect and out of just out of respect to your dad, we're just going to observe a minute silence in honor of your dad and your sister. And yeah, because I feel like you've referenced him a lot, and I think that was very important, and he was like is a very important like part in the Tina Marie story. And
Mm.
we're just going to honor your dad and your sister, and then we'll get you a time to do your outro and
Oh,
stuff.
thank you.
Right. So guys, please let's observe a minute silence. Even on the chat. When I say a minute silence, we can also do that on the chat. So I'm just going to put this video for like a minute, and then we'll come back, and then Tina will sign off. All right. So let's just observe a minute silence. Thank you so much, everyone. I appreciate that.
Yes, thank
Thank you.
you.
Thank you. All right. So over to you, Tina. Let us have you for the outro, and then we can release you.
Okay. Well, go. I want to thank you first for having me on here and allowing me to speak my story and getting it out there, and for the platform that you provide for not myself but others as well. Um, but I just wanted my last message. I just want people to. I want to put for my. I think life is how is perspective, right? And your past doesn't have to define your future, and don't allow it to. Know that you have the choice to be better. You are powerful. You are in control of your life. Life happens for you, but not, and it doesn't have to happen to you. So, with that, I'm done.
Simon Alexander says, one of the greatest freedoms you'll ever give yourself is the courage to be disliked. Oof. Most people spend their lives trapped in the prison of other people's opinions. The truth is, no matter what you do, someone will disapprove. You could play small to keep others comfortable and still be criticized. You could start living a life true to yourself and still be misunderstood. The question is not, will they like me? But am I living in a way that I can like myself? Because the moment you stop outsourcing your worth to others is the moment you discover a rare kind of peace. The kind that comes from knowing you're finally living your life, not the version others wanted for you. Being disliked is a risk, but being untrue to yourself guarantees regret.